Greetings, fellow kids. Okay, maybe not, but I do want to say good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to That Game Place Live, and we have a lot of stories to run at you. Some you may have seen, some you may not have seen, and some that did really sparked my curiosity. We are on the release week for Assassin's Creed Shadows, and I have to tell you, that might be the most interesting part of this game. Everything I've seen so far is, flop. And apparently you could get sued for saying the wrong thing about somebody working at Ubisoft. I don't understand how a offhand comment or opinion is something that can get you in trouble with anybody. And just in case, I actually know a lawyer who's pretty good, by the way, and probably going to shut down anything Ubisoft tries to do. But that's not what we're here to talk about. Well, I mean, it is in part what we're going to talk about. We're here to talk about video games and man jaws, and we're going to talk about how Japan feels about Assassin's Creed and Shadows. We're going to talk a little bit about Super Smash Brothers. We're going to talk a little bit about some rumors coming out of Naughty Dog. We're going to there's some very offensive things coming out of Naughty Dog, and then there's some big corporate problems at Ubisoft. If we don't have enough to talk about to fill the next 2 hours, I'd be surprised. In fact, decent chance we might have to go long. But at the same time, there's a panel of people that'll be joining us today, probably one at a time. But the most important one right now that I'm going to introduce is, of course, Stone Cold Loki. Good afternoon, Loki. How you doing, brother?
Doing pretty good, man. Doing pretty good. Warming my hands on the fires of Ubisoft today. Woo! Man, are they twitchy? They are twitchy.
I'm telling you right now, you've been warm all winter, right? I mean,
this kept me warm all winter long, and the temperatures are kind of shifting because it's spring, but still we're keeping warm because of Ubisoft. And man, are they twitchy. Did you hear about that person that got taken down? They got taken down and they work for him.
Hey,
they work for them. Hey.
We can jump in. We got 1, 2, 3, 4. We got like 5 stories just to Ubisoft alone. So if you want to drop that in, into one of the stories, that'd be perfect. But I want to say hi to some of the folks out there and get our first super chat off the board. Tom F is out there making sure that everybody's taken care of, got his wrench in hand. But the first one up today was Ninja Pat 15 with the player 1 ready. That's right. Carl Singh is out there. Good afternoon to you. Our first super chat of the day from our good friend Butter Biscuit for $5 and quarters, Loki. We're off to a good start. Man, any fighting game is going to be our game for the next 2 hours there. So, but crazy how many studios are shutting down with the ESG money dried up and the USAID money not going to their investors. Yeah. Yeah, that is funny. And more than a little predictable. There was a lot of like, how is this still happening kind of questions that I think Loki and I and others have had going along with all of this. And this is how. It was being artificially supported by, well, your tax dollars. You just didn't know it yet. Hey, Loki, you're wearing a beanie. What do you got on your beanie, brother?
The Cobra.
Did you finish it up?
I did. All what a good show. What a good show.
Good show. That's right. Yeah, we do talk more than video games. Here, we might mention a few other things that are pop culture related, like a new movie release or something like that. But we're gonna try to stick to games religiously here, because, well, we're passionate about it, and we're passionate about the news around it. We're also passionate about you, for players like you, like Morgan King and Clive Griffiths. Great to see you, Clive. And oh my gosh, it's Chris Dickerson here. Meh. Ubisoft can barely keep themselves running, much less chase people lipping off to their pathetic devs. Yeah, I promise you, we'll get into it. We'll get into it. We got Punk Waddle here. He's going to keep us safe. The sheriff's in town, everybody. And D-Bud Martin, everybody's favorite mod. Good to see you, D-Bud. We got Story Crex 31, the Tim Pool approach. I don't know about that. But I don't know. We just like to talk about games over here. And we like to talk with you guys. You'll see that your name will get highlighted more than on Tim Pool. Anyway, we don't leave a super chat behind. So for those of you who are gifting away, we appreciate you so very much. And our first and only one so far from Butter Biscuit 92. Boy, we've got, I don't know. I got to start somewhere, Loki. I just have to figure out where. So I feel like maybe we talk some man jaw. You want to talk about some man jaw?
Oh, dude, on what? From Ubisoft? From Star Wars?
Well, I just here. Okay, look, I mean, a lot of that's Ubisoft because Star Wars was, I think that was Ubisoft, right? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people blaming it on the Unreal Engine now.
Actually,
have you seen any of those?
I have, and here it is. Ubisoft. Wrong story. What happened, Culture?
Oops.
Yeah, let's try that again. Let's get to the right story. Wow, I can't believe I did that. Actually, I can. We have so many stories, and so many are related to Ubisoft. I think that's my fault. But let's start here. Let's start on this with the Manjaw. Unreal Engine's meta-human tool may be behind Manjaw. By the way, I've played with that quite a bit, just so you know, and the tools that go with that to try to fix it. And the growing trend of masculine-female characters in gaming. When did you first notice that it was, dudes dressed, maybe dude wireframes dressed up like ladies? When did you notice that?
It would have been Andromeda. My face is tired, Commander.
My face is tired.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's probably Mass Effect Andromeda.
Yeah. Do you think that was willfully done? Because I don't think Unreal Engine had that problem back then. I thought that came with 5, and I think Andromeda was still with Unreal 4. I could be wrong, but
and I'm pretty sure Andromeda was Frostbite.
Oh, was it?
Yeah,
it was definitely modeled that way then. Modeled with My Face is Tired, which is a shame because outside of that game, I think Frostbite was a pretty decent engine. But regardless, a recently surfaced developer video trying to explain what was going on with the issues that gamers have been noticing, but have not fully understood. Why do so many modern female characters in video games appear to have exaggerated masculine features like the dreaded squared off man jaw? A game developer, speaking under anonymity, has provided evidence to YouTuber Smash JT, and I thought Smash did a good job with this video, that points to Unreal Engine's metahuman character creator as the source of the problem. Have you ever played with one of these character creators?
Oh, yeah. Plenty of times.
Okay. Yeah. It's a lot of fun to play with the tools back in the background before you, you go after a game for its, lack of aesthetics, because sometimes you understand that maybe there's reasons for that. Maybe some of the tools aren't quite there. Maybe they didn't spend enough time with the wireframe, that kind of thing. So the root of the issue could be this metahuman character generator. So the person involved in this video that sent it to Smash JT kind of exposed how the tools work, right? And the way that MetaHuman generates female character models, the tool is obviously groundbreaking because it gives you lots to play with. I've played around with a lot of the tools that are associated with this, but you get a lot of detail and things like that to create to work on top of the base models. But the base models are the problems, which is why they tend to lean towards androgyny, requiring extensive modification to achieve a traditionally feminine look. So it's just, I think it's just character artists in the game not taking the extra time to clean up that look. I mean, what do you think? Is that a possibility, Loki?
It is, but also she explains she actually she scanned her own face and imported that into it. Almost all the stuff that's there, all the basic wireframes, all the basic face structures, they all are ugly. That's one of the things she explains. Every single one of them is ugly and unattractive. the amount of work she had to put in to get her own face in there and then get it right, actually get it to form right, look right, that takes a lot of time. So if you're doing that with having to do that with various portions of the game, you need a team that knows what they're doing and is willing to take the time. This is not just Unreal's problem. This is the developer's problem. This is the guys in the back that are just going, okay, great. If you brought me something like what happened with Star Wars Outlaws, if you brought me that character design and I looked at it and I looked at the picture of the model, I would tell them, you go back and you fix it. I don't care how long it takes. Go back and fix it and make it look right. This is plain laziness and rushing. If they wanted it to look good, it would.
Yeah, exactly. It's a matter of whether or not you care about what the aesthetic is or not. And it seems like a lot of these newer game developers, they don't care about the aesthetics of any of the characters they're creating. Because, I mean, you think about it, every single NPC has terrible character design. It's like nobody spent any time on these things, and these are the most important things. Because you and I, Loki, and everybody out there, you're going to be looking at this game for a long time. I mean, some of these games, you have hundreds of hours of playtime, right? And then you have replayability. The question is, was any of this going to experience replayability?
I doubt it.
Doubtful. Doubtful. Yeah, and that's kind of where we're at. But so the revelation suggests that many studios are relying on MetaHuman and may inadvertently using the default templates without any necessary adjustments. That results in masculine female characters that stand out in ways that players find distracting or offensive or ridiculous. And again, it doesn't take much to clean this up. And once your wireframe is cleaned up and your details are cleaned up, guess what? They render properly aesthetically throughout the entire game. It's like you just have to take that little bit of time up front to make it look less, well, dumb. But the man-jaw concern in game design, good subheading here. One of the most striking takeaways from the leaked video is the consistent structural patterns in MetaHuman's female base models. Features such as strong jawlines, broad facial proportions, and a lack of softer, traditional feminine traits seem to be the default setting. This has led to a growing number of masculine female characters in modern games, raising concerns among players and artists alike. And again, this is supposed to be a female body, dude. Default body type.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't see that, but all right.
That's weird, man.
It is. No, it absolutely is. And when you're ticking around with those sliders, trying to get the way you want it, if there's nothing being changed, people notice that. We've been messing with character creators for 20 years now. This is not rocket scientists. If they could do this 10 years ago, they can do it now. The fact that we're having this problem now all goes into laziness or forcing people to go down a certain hallway that they would much rather not go down.
Understood. Yeah. I mean, it's just odd. And then again, like this picture is 1,000 words. I mean, it basically describes the problem with default faces. This is supposed to be, what was her name? K Vess. So this is K Vess from the terrible Star Wars Outlaws games that is helping to bankrupt Ubisoft, which we're going to talk about later in a different video segment. But this is a screenshot. This is what she looks like. And this is ugly as sin. And again, look at that wide jaw. That's a jaw as wide as mine. Okay. Like if I shave my beard, you're gonna be like, wow, you've got a wide jaw. Well, yeah, I'm a dude, right? I come from hardy stock. Some of it's Viking, right? Some of it's American Indian, right? You look at stuff like this and you go, okay, that's a dude. Well, it's not. I mean, the character's supposed to be feminine, sort of, a little bit. I mean, moves like a female and clumsy and slow and, unskilled and apparently stealthy everywhere. Regardless, none of this looks attractive, but this is a default model. It's pretty clear to me. What do you think? Do you think that's a default model?
Oh yeah, I don't think they worked on this at all. I think they rushed this out to get it out in the time frame they were told to get it out. They couldn't even do that. The game wasn't finished. The game had multiple bugs we talked about on this channel where you had to start the game over if you didn't do a certain thing in order. I mean, complete start over. No, oh, we can patch it. You can continue to save. No, you're just stuck out in space. So they didn't work on this. They didn't bust their butts. This is what we get when we don't get that push. When they're like, oh no long hours. You have to stay like 8 hours, and we've got to do 2 hours of DEI training every day. And this is the result. This is what you get.
Yeah, I think I'm with you on that one. But I guess this has had industry-wide impact. Characters are ugly. Here's another ugly character, Ciri in Witcher 4, which is coming up. Very ugly, very masculine. This looks like some of the like royalty like princes in a lot of other games. It does not look like a princess of any kind, or female in any way. You know, a lot of people push back against some of these arguments, saying that, well, the default male bases retain their structures. Why don't they just make a structurally consistent female base? I can't answer that question. I wouldn't mind if more of the female characters had similar features, but you're always going to tune everything up. So, look, the gaming industry has long thrived on its ability to create virtually and visually distinct characters, engaging and fascinating and beautiful. So if major development tools continue down a path where female character models start from androgynous template, it could further shift the industry away from the artistic diversity, which is, you know, something that a lot of devs are now pushing back against, the fact that they're losing the art of the video games and the character models and the environments. That's an entirely other story. But there is a call for change. The developer who shared the information with Smash JT hopes that bringing attention to this issue will encourage discussion among both industry professionals and players. The concern is not just about one tool, it's about ensuring that game development continues to allow for a full range of artistic expression rather than being constrained by the limitations or biases of the technology itself. Now, this is the thing that's the most striking. If you look at this wireframe outline for where the muscles are going to be bunched and moved, because that's what this is, that already looks pretty masculine. So it looks like she had to tune up even her own face pretty much.
Oh, yeah, it does. And I'm sure she did. It takes time. These are things that take time. And if they don't want to spend the time on it, they're not going to, and they're just going to keep looking like this. This is what you're going to get.
Yeah. If realism is the goal, you don't want everything to look like a boy. That's all I have to say about that. Any final words on this, Loki? You think this is actually a thing? Are we imagining it? Are we imagining it, Loki?
No, we're not imagining it. We have been imagining it from the start. With everything that's been coming to light, and especially Japan starting to take a stand and say, you know what, we need to do what we've done in the past and hold on to what we think, you know, we want instead of what everybody else wants. If America keeps doing this, they're just going to run their own industries into the ground. And if other countries decide that they want to go down this path and use tools like this, that's fine. I think Japan's getting out of that game. I hope it is. I've got my fingers crossed because so many great games, and especially depictions of the US, Double Dragon, all those old games back in the day that we absolutely loved, that depicted, you know, 80s street gangs and all that fun stuff. If they get back to their roots, they can totally make a comeback and get away from all of this. And didn't you know what happens? Stuff like this stops being profitable and stops getting made or gets fixed.
That's true.
Problem solved.
Yeah, I'm 100% with you there. I just hope people start to learn how to use the tools, and I hope Unreal actually reconsiders their base frame for females. That's all I can hope for. But hey, we've got all of you out there in the chat. Let's see what you guys have to say. Perhaps some of you have a different opinion. Let's take a look. KVS, more like loser. Yes. Oh my gosh, yes. Little chat out there says they spend a lot of time on animating same-sex scenes in Assassin's Creed Shadows. So I've heard. We're gonna get there, friend.
Yeah,
we
have
are
you
going
seen
to
it?
get there. Yeah,
You seen it? Yeah, well,
yeah. Well, we're not showing that on the channel. We'll talk about it on the channel. Juliet, it's great to see you. And Argentum here. We've got several folks stopping in. It's great to see you all. Kamchi, and more. You look at you guys all chatting away. Release the McCracken. What's up, Robbie? And other folks popping in, bopping in, and saying hey.
and to answer that Alloy question,
Yeah, you want to go ahead?
Because people liked her and they enjoyed the game, and
Yeah,
she was a cutie, and they had
and she was, and then they quote unquote updated it.
Don't get that update. Don't get the update. You can play that first game, but the way they did her in 2 is just horrible.
Yeah, it's rough. It's rough. But what's not rough is a super chat from Mark Fields for $5 worth of quarters. We appreciate that so very much. Has anyone played Dime or Slime World for Sega Genesis? It sounds familiar, but I don't know. Loki's here. Loki, you've played every game.
Right. I probably played Slime World for Sega Genesis back in the day. Most likely I did. I played almost all of them.
Yeah. I just don't, for whatever reason, remember. But I want to say thank you for Mark Fields. I will try to look that up, see what.
What's that other one? A Boy and His Blob?
Yeah, the blob thing or whatever it was.
One?
Yeah, I remember that one.
The Max one that was on Nintendo that was like Max's Nightmare or something like that. There was
I loved a lot of the games on the Sega. They're really fun. Speaking of fun, Radio Drago for £5 sterling, I believe. That's proper money, kids. Tinfoil hat theory. Is this the main reason that most games are using Unreal these days, as it gives them the desired look that fits their narrative? I think it just gives them a base to start from. Okay, let's start here. Every one of these character creators or game engines that you build your game upon has a base wireframe. It just does. And then you skin it and you add detail and you do all of these things so that once your character is done, their motions are set, probably animations are set, all that stuff. You can you tweak with it. And then, but it remains a constant, consistent, and locked thing. So your character model's always got the same rough appearance, absent whatever the environmental factors could be that change them. That's been around for a long, long time. So if this is the base wireframe and nobody there is an actual character designer or, an artist of any kind, I think they're just sticking with the base because they're incapable of manipulating it, or they don't want to take the time, or they're just flat lazy. What do you think to that? What would be your thoughts on that?
I'd agree. They're just lazy, but I wouldn't put it past some of these companies to let it just sit there intentionally and be like, oh no, that's good. I want perfection. If you bring me an ugly character that is not up to par, I will send you back and tell you have this amount of time to get it fixed. I want to see it. I want an update soon. Get to it. That's what you do. Why would you not do that? Oh, well, we don't have enough time. We don't have this. We don't have that. Whatever. That's all excuses. That's all excuses. Send them back there and make them do their job until it's right. If you cannot do that, if there is a reason, if they're going to report you to HR, if they're going to get you fired because you want the character to look right, that is a company-wide problem that has to be taken care of first.
And I 100% agree with that. We've got Cat Sith out there. Great to see you. Definitely not imagining a lot of androgynous characters in AAA. No, I don't think we are either. And I don't know. I mean, can we fight through it all? Probably. Can we buy games accordingly? Yes, we can. So we really can control the outcome. It's just sometimes we're going to get a complete garbage game that nobody's going to play because of all the narrative garbage that they're trying to shove at us. But you know what we don't try to shove at you? At least not often enough. It's the man, the myth, the legend himself, the co-founder of this channel, and just the spiffiest dresser you have ever seen in your life. It's Jonas J. Campbell. Hello, Jonas.
Good to be here. It
Yeah.
actually worked out for me to be here today, which is
I,
I'm glad.
I'm very grateful you're here. What about you, Loki? Do you care? You think?
Oh, yeah,
All right.
our representation, Jonas J. Campbell. Now I feel very significantly underdressed.
Well, you
It's
mean
like walking in a
representation?
court and going, "Oh no,
Oh,
I'm
that
underdressed."
representation. I thought we were talking about representation. You know what I'm
No,
saying?
we don't have any of that. But what we do have is a couple people that rolled in, like the Wild Man of Yevon, which I appreciate. Great to see you, Wild Man. And everybody else who rolled in, like Icelandic Fart Police. That's a unique name. I don't know what to do with that, but I didn't know that Iceland controlled the flatulence to that degree. That's crazy.
Well, if you're
But
a perpetrator, then you should look out.
look. Maybe I can't go to Iceland then, because if I have like a Yingling or something, there's big trouble. All right. On that note, we're going to move on because we got fresh rumors. When I got this story, it was 15 minutes old. It's now 3 or 4 hours old. And I have the right people here to talk about it. So, there's a rumor going on right now, and it's about a game I thought was done. The Last of Us. I thought they were done. They weren't going to make a 3, but somehow Palpatine returned. I guess I don't know. This is wild. I don't get it. The fact that this is real, that there are more Last of Us 3 details have leaked online. Look, as far as I'm concerned, Naughty Dog is dead to me. And we're going to get into why here a little later. We've got another story segment that's going to be available to you about that. But there's a lot of details that leaked. And, these folks over at this Game Rant place decided to publish it. It's now about 4 hours old. Naughty Dog may be working on The Last of Us Part 3, with leaked details focusing on potential new characters and storylines. It's unclear if characters from past installments will appear. And the studio is currently working on the sci-fi title Intergalactic: The Heretic Prophet. And I promise you, that will be a major subject of conversation on the channel. If you're looking for that video, it is coming soon. But Naughty Dog has yet to announce a third entry because I thought they canceled it. But one leaker claims the studio is already working on the project and has released new supposed details. It's been 5 years since the garbage sauce that basically brought most of us to the pop culture arena to yell and scream about video games, movies, and television. And that controversial sequel to Naughty Dog's groundbreaking zombie title was released, and it was terrible. Loki, did you ever Abby Smash?
Yeah. Unfortunately, some of that, yes.
Okay.
Yes, I love the first game. I absolutely love the first game, and everybody warned me. Everybody, you know what it was like when that game came out. Everybody was warning everybody to stay away from it. Channels were getting taken down just for talking about it, not showing any footage. There was all kinds of nastiness going on.
Yeah, and the game
never
didn't
get another penny from me. Naughty Dog will never get another penny from me.
Well, reportedly, they didn't make any money on it, which is fascinating to me. They're making money on the HBO partnership with that show, but the show is going to have to dodge some bullets in this next season because this is when, your main character or one of your main characters, Joel, is going to get Abby smashed. I don't think that's going to be a good time. I think they may have to change the story. Jonas, you have any insight on any of that?
No special insight. I think what's going to be really important is if they put Pedro Pascal in the game. That's probably if they didn't have him, that's probably why they decided not to go forward with Last of Us 3, since everyone has to have Pedro Pascal in there. I played the first Last of Us, and I had young kids at the time, and I just didn't feel like living in that world, that very depressed zombie-like world. For some reason, I'm fine with The Walking Dead, but Last of Us was just not my cup of tea. Heavy Rain kind of broke me.
Yeah, that one was man, I can't even explain that game. I was so out of it so fast. I was like, this is terrible. But
that was when I was trying to get platinums on anything I had, and I didn't have a big budget. So
oh no, I understand the motivation. there's some games I've played less than a half an hour of before I walked away.
Mm-hmm.
And that was one of them. But there was no way I was going to pick up Last of Us 2. I was going to watch other people suffer. Now I have a whole bunch of people that are going to watch me suffer here this next week playing Assassin's Creed Shadows. Thanks for that. But in looking at this, they've got other games in development. This Intergalactic Heretic Prophet, which again, I promise you a segment of video will be available to you very soon on that. That game is going to be offensive in an entirely different way. So I don't know how you can blow up Last of Us Part 3. But I think they're going to have to find another male companion for, to replace Joel, or maybe not.
I totally agree, but this is the cost of them deciding to make every game into a playable movie. So you get more attached to the characters. If the main character is just an avatar for the player that goes around and shooting and blowing stuff up, and I guess scaling the side of buildings as Naughty Dog likes to have everybody do, that is a lot safer than, oh no, we're going to tell a big story and we got to have a big message in here other than go save the girl. It's the cost of trying to be something that you probably have no business being.
Well, apparently this is another dual party game between Val and Mason, or these are new characters that are going to be introduced into this third thing. And according to Daniel RPK, they've already started casting them. So this game still got 4 years of development in front of it, at least. And you're going to have a lot of questions unanswered about Ellie and what actually happened at the end there. So I don't know.
So are they saying that Druckmann is not involved in any way? Because Druckmann was the one that was saying no Last of Us Part 3.
Yeah, no, it doesn't say anything like that. Rickman says the game's going to follow a group of new characters holding out against the infected in an old Victorian house. So it doesn't sound like it's going to pick up where Joel's story left off, or an Ellie's story, I guess. So I don't see this going forward. Druckmann said Intergalactic still has a ways to go before completion. Right here. And you're right. I think he was the one that said this isn't going to happen. Right?
This is sounding a lot like Resident Evil 7. If anybody remembers that, where you're completely disconnected from everything that's happened before, and you don't know whether you're in the universe or in this other universe. That sounds really odd that they would do that, knowing how they feel about those characters and how right they were the whole time, and we're all just evil game reviewers that hate everything. Jonas knows what I'm talking about. We talk about labels. We get labeled all the time just because we don't like something.
Right. I mean, I'm watching Snow White here in less than 24 hours. I think I'll be on my way to the theater, and I'm fully prepared for them to call me some kind of horrible name if this film happens to match up to the quality that I'm expecting from a Disney live action remake. My expectations are so low that they can only exceed them. But someone is going to call me an istophobe or something like that, regardless.
So I don't mind that though, Jonas.
Of course you don't mind. They're calling me that.
No.
I think I'm joking. It's getting so tired. It's getting so played out. And if they are so jaded that they're trying to play into it, then they've severed their ties from their most ardent fan base. I have no interest in playing as Ellie. I have no interest in playing as a little girl. It has to be a pretty amazing story. Probably it would have to be a Japanese game for me to want to play as a little girl, because they'll at least have the little girl be feminine in all of this. I have no interest in sitting down for a really depressing movie. I would rather, if it's going to be a movie, give me 2.5 hours for you to tell your story, and then I can move on and go play something fun. I'm actually interested in whatever they're doing with Metal Gear over there. I'm not interested in more Last of Us, or if I wanted to go back and play the Last of Us Part 2 remake, or Last of Us Part 1 remastered, or whatever. I have no interest in it whatsoever. So it would only be for historical reasons if I wanted to go back and play these games.
Well, you know what?
And I'd rather play Uncharted first again.
Yeah, man, Uncharted was so fun. The first 3 games were great.
Yeah.
I think. I don't know. Maybe you could argue with me on that, but I still think they were good. And I've always thought those lent themselves to being films, and they always felt like films. This is back when Naughty Dog was worth something, and they had a great female writer there that was doing a wonderful job that they kicked out the door because Druckmann wanted to feminize everything, which is weird. But I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if there's more to say here. We're going to finish up on this rumor business, and I want to do this. I know we got, I think, a couple super chats to get into here real quick. Picking up with where our friend Butterbiscuit for $5 saying that activists are usually no in the looks category, or maybe so. They've taken over and further the narrative. The narrative femininity is a bad thing. It'll continue. What do you think, Jonas? You think that's right?
Yeah, well, it really depends on what the activism is. The seed oil activists are not necessarily the same as the gender activists here.
True.
The people campaigning for healthier foods, they tend to look a little bit better, unless they're campaigning for the vegan stuff. There are some good-looking vegans out there. But if we're talking about gender, sexuality, looks activists, that tends to be someone who's upset about something. So, Butterbiscuit, I agree with you.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's grab this one too. Radio Drago for another 2 in quarters. Thank you for that, Radio Drago. This is £2 sterling. This is proper money, ladies and gentlemen. Saying, Jonas, how's Red Dead 2?
It's good. I haven't got to play much. I have, and just so you guys know, I've barely gotten to play anything over the last few weeks that wasn't on my phone while I was waiting in transit for something to happen here. I think I've played 3 matches of Fortnite. Over the last month here. So Red Dead, still good. Trying to find time away from the kids to play it is difficult.
Yeah, I bet. And right now, I know how busy you are behind the scenes, so I don't even know I have time to play anything, let alone even a phone game. But I know that we need to talk more, because Naughty Dog's not off the hook this week. Some of the stuff that we got thrown at us this week is pretty disturbing and upsetting, and any number of other things. Before we jump in, though, TNEL89 throws a tenner at us, $10 in quarters. Look at that. And says the epithet on every 40K product is, in the grim darkness of the far future, there is only war. But I'd bet an accurate revenue projection for AC Shadows might have it beat in grim darkness. Wow.
I haven't done anything with Assassin's Creed Shadows yet. I hear that you're the one who's going to take that hit.
I am. Yeah,
but
I'm
seeing
it tomorrow.
Maybe the gameplay is good. I've seen a few good reviews from some people that I think are reasonable, but I've seen a whole bunch of clips that just make me shake my head. Like, what are you doing?
Dialogue? Do you see that dialogue? We'll get there. We got plenty of Ubisoft to talk about.
But you know what we have?
What do we have?
Maybe we come in a pair. Like one of us is the mom from The Grudge, and I would be the child from The Grudge in this instance. Here, okay. Please welcome to the channel, Spencer Baculi.
What the heck? What? Oh, my mic wasn't picking up. What's going on? I was trying to do the scream that the little boy does.
Wow. Okay. Good to see you, Spencer. Thanks for
Yo,
being
guys.
here. We got some stories from your outlet to talk about, but we're going to start with one that I'm glad you're here for. Controversy.
Oh no.
Because Naughty Dog, we already talked about, and their Last of Us 3, which I didn't think was coming out, but Daniel RPK seems to think is. Naughty Dog's been doing some dumb stuff. One of those things is called Intergalactic, the Heretic Prophet. And now the story coming out about this mess is the fact that they may be targeting Christianity. Earthworm Jim creator slams Neil Druckmann and his team for that.
Whatever.
Well, I'm gonna slam them. They stole my haircut, man. They
Oh,
stole
no.
my haircut. They stole my look, and they put it on her. I am getting a lawyer. I am lawyering up. We will not have this. She cannot steal my look. We're not
It's
doing
patented.
They should get you the jacket, though. I think you'd look cool in the jacket.
The jacket's pretty cool. You could dress like you're in the Thriller video, dude.
that. Oh.
I don't know, maybe not. But Naughty Dog's upcoming sci-fi game, Intergalactic: The Heretic Prophet, has raised some eyebrows for its seemingly deliberate focus on religion, particularly. And by the way, if you've read through this entire game, which I have,
You think
there's
you
stuff.
have.
I think I have.
You don't. We don't know if those leaks are real. Some random person posted them on 4chan. Why are we taking that as gospel?
Okay.
That's a good note. It's a good context to bring in.
I'm
It
just
is.
sorry. I'm not in a mood to like do disingenuous criticisms here. I personally don't care about this because they made fun of Christianity. Guess what? Christianity makes fun of everybody else all the time. I see Christians being asked on Twitter. Oh well, cry about it and let's move on. Like what is the outrage here?
Well, they're putting about 400 million behind it, and they want everybody to buy it. So I don't know.
Okay, but we know we can go. Oh, they don't like Christianity. Okay, what are we gonna do with that? Just don't buy it. Like I don't have it in me to waste any more time on this kind of stuff when I can play good games, when I can do things I like.
Yeah. I will say, just on the aesthetic, I actually really like the Sony products in the trailer. This is me being the height of commercialist materialist here. The thing that I loved about the trailer was the stuff, like the CD rotation device. Man, why am I struggling here with the name of this? The chunkiness of the buttons and all of that. Like, so there's a little part of me that wants this game to be good and is a little disappointed at some of the lameness that they put in it. We did an analysis on this channel a while back, so I don't know. Let's talk about it. We'll be pop culture critics, Spencer.
Yeah, sure thing. And what I understand here is that this has a lot of criticism set 2,000 years in the future. I'm sure that's coincidental. Diverging from the history.
Coincidental to what? What are you implying there?
Did you see the clip of him talking about it?
No, I don't.
He says, the interviewer says to him, a religion that started 2,000 years earlier, and the interviewer says, "Oh, big coincidence." And Neil Druckmann waves his head, nods his head. It's from the interview itself.
Gotcha.
So
anyway, saying that this fictional faith has been bastardized over time. Mirrors common narrative in the media where Christianity is unfairly framed as being outdated, hypocritical, or oppressive. The fact that the game's timelines in the 1980s, a decade often associated with the resurgence of Christian conservatism in the U.S., yada, yada, yada. So regardless, there seems to be a pattern with Neil Druckmann in a lot of different things, and maybe in faith as well. So Naughty Dog, obviously, no stranger to controversy and polarized games like the Last of Us 2, which I don't know. Did you enjoy Last of Us 2, Spencer?
Didn't play it because I knew it was from Naughty Dog, and I went, I don't like Naughty Dog games, so I went, I'm not engaging with it.
Okay, fair enough.
I just said the same thing, Spencer. Well,
yeah, you guys are almost verbatim
than I did.
Well, that's my thing. Is like I'm not gonna spend time Okay, there's Last of Us 2. Yeah, I'll look at the news stories, but I'm not going to make 400 videos or crap my pants when I just go, I don't like it. I'm not going to do it. You know, they released a bunch of anime games at the same time that I went over and I played instead.
Right. No, understood.
And he's got a good point. I mean, I like like you guys were talking about the Uncharted games. I really like those. So I gave Last of Us a try. I like the first Last of Us. If none of that had interest me, I wouldn't care about any. I wouldn't care about this game because you just don't. You go and get stuff from the people you do like.
So here's this tweet from Bounding into Comics. Spencer, you might be familiar with them.
Heard of them once or twice.
Yeah. Naughty Dog is proud to attack God. Intergalactic seeks to mock faith and replace God with the self. Full video below with Doug. I never know how to pronounce his name.
Tenaple. Yeah.
Let's call the whole thing. Anyways, potato. I knew the Naughty Dog and Insomniac guys when the company started, and they were solid gamers, not secularists. Okay, this is where you lose me a little bit. Secularist pseudo philosophers taking passive aggressive.
Go huff some more farts, Tenaple.
Okay. As administrators and human resources grow in companies, they all merge to the left. I actually do think the second statement there is very correct. Human resources is a profession that lends itself towards emotional safety, whether for good or for bad.
Activism
does end up to the left.
Yeah, very extremely to the left. But look, it's interesting that Bounding into Comics comments on the way that they did on this. And again, you can certainly watch the video clip
because
there.
Two people can have different opinions, Culture.
It's true.
You're right. You're right. The phenomenon was aptly described by Doug Tenaple, avowed Christian and the creator of Earthworm Jim. I knew the Naughty Dog. Yeah, of course, we already read this, but conservative people of faith don't need to create a parallel market. We need to create a viable market where games are rooted in merit of gameplay, not philosophy of the owners or the cinematics leaked on at the end, or tacked on at the end. I have to tell you, we have a lot of games that have merit in the marketplace, and people are picking them up and playing them instead of a lot of AAA and supposedly quadruple A games. So the point he's making on that is not wrong. You can make a lot of games that are not rooted in faiths, but are available to all faiths. And I think that before Ubisoft went down the wrong path, they started on the right one with Assassin's Creed. You had a team of people from various backgrounds and religions working on a game that was going to span all of those things. So knowingly, they put that together rather effectively. But if you can make
games that don't criticize Christianity, you can make games that criticize Christianity. We cannot like, or you guys cannot like it, but that doesn't mean like it shouldn't be made or they're inherently bad people for making that game.
Yeah, I think my point was greater than that, though, to say that you can make things that don't slam on Islam or other things. That's why I was using Assassin.
But you can also make things that do like that. There's no argument here. You can make things that do that. Absolutely. But I can also make things that do this.
Well, you're
making a good example is Assassin's Creed, and we'll go to the Italian side of Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
So,
Ezio Auditore di Firenze.
In the age of the Borgias, there's no way to tell that story without involving some Christian elements.
Yeah,
and specifically being critical of the Borgias. There's
Catholics.
Right, but at the same time, I don't know. Maybe there are some Catholics out there that are offended on behalf of the Borgias.
Of course, there are.
Online.
We know who they are.
Yeah. I think history has borne out that most people are not pro-Borgia when it comes down to it. And I would say I'm really going to go out on a limb here and say I think the portrayal is actually pretty accurate in that one. But that being said, when the Assassin's Creed games talk about religion and really talk about religion and like they replace the creation with, they say that Adam and Eve were aliens or something. Oh, no. Adam and Eve were the first humans created by aliens. That's the
progenitors.
Kind of
the progenitors.
Right. That's the kind of thing where we all just kind of roll our eyes, as opposed to being beaten over the head with.
I'm playing it. I'm playing a game, Jonas. So yeah, no, I mean,
but you're also talking about the biggest religion in the world. Okay, there's going to be people that make games that include it. There's going to be movies that have it in it. There's going to be
Right.
movies that have nothing about it in it, and there's going to be movies and games that hate it because it's the biggest.
And in
So you're-
America, guys, like I see this argument raised all the time of, oh, why don't people criticize Islam? Why don't they criticize Judaism or Shinto or whatever? Because we're in the West and Christianity is the dominant religion. So we get more interaction with Christian values and Christian people that make us want to have, or not make us want to, but bear out more things for us to talk about. Like it's just the reality of where we live.
Right. It's also a little played out at the same time. It gets a little lame after a while.
Absolutely. I'm not arguing that at all.
I'm having the conversation. I'm not rebutting you.
I know.
Here.
I'm adding with you. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm not saying that at all.
So here's the thing. Pull up his face on the screen here. What I'm not interested in, and what disappoints me, is it just solidifies that I'm not going to be interested in any of the dialogue of this game. Maybe the gameplay is great, maybe, but I'm really not interested in the eye roll moments of hearing this guy's takes on Christianity. And also the fact that they get so obvious with it that it's like, well, that's not an allegory. That's just a really ham-fisted metaphor. It's supposed to be, oh, aren't you so angry at what I've done to mock your God? No, generally, no, I'm not offended. I'm just more offended at how much money you're wasting on a point that's really not going to land except with stupid people.
Well, look, and what I find interesting here, and I think that Spencer, follow me on this. He looks like he's working at like a death parlor, like he's an undertaker in this shot. Doesn't that look like a coffin behind him with like some flowers?
Kind of looks
there?
like the guy who tries to go after Jack Sparrow in all the Pirates of the Caribbean sequels.
We have the new 2000 turbo casket right here, ladies and gentlemen.
I think it's some weird flowers in the background.
It just struck me. I'm like, wow, he's in a funeral parlor. He's kind of a funeral director, if you think about it. Since he's taken over fully for that studio, he's kind of killed a lot of things. Anyway, I just thought that'd be kind of interesting to talk about. I didn't realize how much so. But I do know that we've got other news. Look, there are people still standing up for the art of making video games. And I find that I'm always proud of this. And somebody who wrote a great article on this is somebody who happens to be on the panel. And I'd like to get there. I'd like to talk about it. If only we had that person with us to talk about said article. Maybe they'll magically appear, or maybe they're already on the screen. But this fella who made this Super Smash Brothers game, creator says that Japanese devs should simply pursue what they love, because overseas fans love Japan's unique style and its distinct charm. This is probably the most plainly stated, most obvious thing that devs in the United States should be paying attention to. Gentlemen, I give you an article from Bounding Into Comics by one Spencer Baculi, whom happens to be, well, right down there.
Hi.
You wrote this article. This was based on a statement where that I think originally I saw first on Nintendo Life. And I know you do a lot of work on your stories. You want to run us through this real fast?
Yeah, basically. So every year in Japan, they culture, or what do they call that position? The like minister of cultural education. There's like 4 other like departments
names
under him. Yeah. But they hold every year. They have an award ceremony where they recognize the like outstanding artists for their achievement in 11 different fields. So there's 11 different winners, and it's like the top guy from film and media and video games and comics and all that sort of stuff. So this year they honored Masahiro Sakurai, the creator of Kirby, the creator of the Smash Brothers series, not for any of his video games, funnily enough, but actually for his YouTube channel. Because if you guys didn't know, ever since they released the last DLC character for Smash, Sakurai has kind of stepped back from development, and he's been it's over now. He did about a 300 episode blog series, which each episode is like 40 minutes to an hour, where he would delve into game design theory, philosophy, strategy, just all of that stuff, giving advice on his experiences, giving advice to people who wanted to work in the industry. It's a really good channel. Even if you don't want to necessarily pursue games as like a career, I would definitely say go check a few of them out. It's Sakurai. He's the best. But yeah, after the ceremony, this Japanese news outlet went up to him and they said, "Hey, can we talk?" He gave an interview. And one of the questions they asked was, China is really growing in the video game sphere. What does Japan think about that? How do you think you survive? How do you grow into the next century? And Sakurai just basically went, all right, Japanese devs, just be be you, embrace what you do, make what you like. And he specifically pointed out, don't try to Americanize your games, right? Because people aren't coming to us for American stuff. They're coming to us for our weird Japanese, or not weird, but our Japanese identity that's different from all of theirs, right? And like you said, Culture, he's completely right. I've been beating this drum forever, not just in video games, but in anything, whether it's Star Wars or Marvel Comics or shonen manga. The people who like that stuff, even the female, let's say you start seeing female fans get into manga or Marvel Comics, they're not getting into it because maybe that's going to change tomorrow and it's going to be a lifestyle brand. They're getting into that because they like that shonen manga. They like the shonenness of it. That is kind of what Sakurai is saying here, and that's what, like you said, everybody should really take away, because I don't know how many of you guys remember this, but 2012, let me rephrase this. We actually have a test case to this, because in 2012, for those who don't remember, the con man himself of Capcom, Keiji Inafune, he came out and he started beating, just crying out loud to anybody who could hear that the Japanese game industry is going to fail. We're gone if we do not Americanize. Look at what all the American games are doing. They're super popular now. We need to follow them if we want to survive. Capcom, for some reason, well, I guess it's because he was still there technically, they listened to him. And what did we get out of those periods? We got things like Resident Evil 6, Operation Raccoon City, DMC, Devil May Cry, Dead Rising 3, all of these games that are Americanized, but they're terrible. They're just embarrassing. Oh, a 13-year-old wrote this, right? And I made the point in the article. It's like, if I want to play a Western Call of Duty game, I can go play Call of Duty. We're not at a loss for any of these things. But if I want to play a Japanese game, I'll just go to Japan. I don't look to Ubisoft or EA.
That's a really good point.
Can I add on really quick? Okay. Earlier, I was talking about Double Dragon, Bad Dudes, games like that. It was their interpretation that we took as a reflection on American society, with Double Dragon, with Bad Dudes, and that we fell in love with.
Yeah.
Okay, it's their interpretation. Let them make that interpretation. That's what we loved about those games.
Most of the time, I would say, if you want a game about a certain culture or country, it has you will only get the best one of that if you let another country make it. Now, Assassin's Creed Shadow is clearly the exception, but when I look at Ghost of Tsushima, right?
Yeah.
Amazing Japanese game to the point where the Japanese love it, made by Sucker Punch. Sucker Punch. Or I look at Metal Gear Solid. That's all about the American war complex and our politics, made by a Japanese guy. So
Kojima.
Exactly. I think there's this element of if you're in the culture, you understand it almost too much, right? So then you're trying to take in every little bit of context and understanding of your history that because you've been in it all your life. Whereas if you're just researching it, you can get a lot of that, but then you're not held down by I know American culture and we don't want to, wait in line for 2 extra seconds at the gas pump. This is how we would write the scene, right? That would be all weird and we'd be getting in our heads, where a Japanese creator can just go, they're in line at the gas station. Cool, let's go.
Let's go.
You know, what's funny is I actually don't think that Assassin's Creed Shadows was a response to Japan. I think it was a response to Ghosts of Tsushima.
Yeah. No, I think
Oh, they are afraid that thing is going to eat their lunch. It's great.
yeah, I think they are going to eat their lunch. I think everybody here in this audience is going to watch me suffer playing that game and not buy it themselves. I think that's true.
I mean, I'm not buying it. That's for sure.
You're going to watch me suffer, aren't you, Spencer?
Always. I'm clipping it for everything.
Okay.
I want Japanese people to keep making Japanese games. Why? Because
I love them.
Nintendo is in Japan and Capcom is in Japan, and I don't want. I mean, obviously, we're all very disappointed with Western games these days. Anyways, there's very few and far between good ones on the large scale here, other than that Terminator 2 that looks like it's a Contra remake. That
Well, let's hope. I really hope that turns out awesome.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm so worried about that one because I watched that trailer and I'm like, this is everything right. This is everything right. What's the catch?
Yeah. Well, I don't think there's a catch. That's the thing. I mean,
I know, but then what's the catch to that catch?
There's no catch. The catch is you're gonna like it, and we're gonna love it, and it's gonna be good. What are you on to? I don't know, but I just feel like every once in a while we're gonna get a win. We do anyway. So
and
real
then they're
fast.
doing I think they're doing a sequel to that RoboCop game. Everybody liked.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, that should be cool for you guys. I never got a chance to play it, but I heard from everybody who did that it was
great.
Yeah, like it is RoboCop.
It is RoboCop. It is a great RoboCop game.
The exaggerated swagger of a Detroit police officer.
I'm looking forward to it. But anyway, real quick, I want to get to the super chats and thank all the people that are here. All the people that are here with us. I want to ask you a question because this is an important question. I may ask the audience. You know what? I'll ask the audience right now. I'll ask everybody right now. We have one story that isn't about Ubisoft coming up next. It's about Kotaku. Do we do a Kotaku story of sadness and then follow up with giant block of sadness of Ubisoft? Or do we break it up with a Kotaku laugh sadness funny?
I'm late. Did you guys already cover anything about Assassin's Creed Shadows? Which hopefully I think there's still going to be some, even after it comes out, there's going to be some left in the tank that has to be talked about.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, like me suffering under the weight of this terrible game. Anyway, I mean, we need to do a story focused on me.
They're going to hit their post. Eventually, they're going to have to do their post-launch press tour. So buckle up.
They already messed that up. You had that Spencer. What's the name of that chick that got banned off of Twitch?
For
streaming
it. Was so. Even though they said you can do it, totally fine. It was on their end, and they went, ban her.
DMC takedown.
Yeah, if you can find, by the way, if you can find that, somebody find a story that goes with that, and send it over. But I just want to get to these super chats. You guys figure it out what you want to do. I'm just going to say this. The mom was here for $2 to say. So what do I do when my trusted dev fails too? Hunt.
You mean 2 or TOO? Because
also
they failed
TOO.
Twice.
Yeah,
if they failed twice. What happened with CD Projekt?
So what do I do? This is Mom's question. So what do I do when my trusted dev fails too or falls too?
Are they talking about somebody specific? Did I miss somebody before we jumped in?
No. I don't know. I think this is general
question.
I was playing word games.
This came in during the
Gotcha.
story. The Druckmann story that was on Bounding that we also covered that Spencer said we shouldn't cover.
Oh, I didn't say you shouldn't cover it. I just disagreed with it. I have a counter take, which we all do, or not all do, but we sometimes do.
Yeah, this is people show up to these to get our unfiltered takes. Well, filtered enough that we can still stay on the platform.
You farts.
Yeah. We have a tendency not to call each other names or use bad words. So that's a win for me.
Well, the Norwegian fart police are in the chat though. So.
Well, and that's fine. I think they're Icelandic, but same thing.
Icelandic. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, not the same. I mean, that's the other problem.
Sorry, that was a jurisdictional issue. So forgive me.
All I'm saying is people still confuse Iceland and Greenland. So come on now. All right. Anyway, the mom, I would say that, punt. at this point because I think Rockstar is about to do me dirty, and I'm really sad. But anyway,
yeah, if your favorite devs fail, that's kind of the hard thing these days. Is like in comic books, you can do the thing where, oh, the publisher sucks. I'm going to go follow this artist or I'm going to follow this writer. And it's kind of easy, right? Because it's only
Alex
one
Ross.
or two people. Right, exactly. Alex Ross or I like Dan Mora a lot. But in video games, one, they're not very open about like where people always go. Like we don't get big, Dan Houser's on Dead Space now. Like we don't get headlines like that. They're very few and far between, unless it's Cliffy B announcing a new failure that will not come out. So you would like, I would love to be like, oh, just follow your favorite devs wherever they go. Find out what they're doing next. But it's hard. I think the best advice I can give in this climate is like abandon your loyalty to specific brands or specific companies, because all these companies are, how do I put this, culture and everyone, it's like they've had so much overturn.
They're owned, they're compromised.
Not even that. They're not the same companies we're thinking of, right? The people at Rockstar right now are not the same team who did GTA 5 or San Andreas or 4. The people at BioWare who did Veilguard, those were not the same people who did Inquisition or 2 or any of the other ones, right? So at this point, it really just comes down to, do you like that game? Right? Like does the thing you're seeing on the screen interest you? Did you play it at a friend's house and did you like it? That's where we got to go back to, unfortunately. Long gone are the days of, oh, X is on Y title, I'm here. Unless it's Nintendo.
Nintendo. I think you can be faithful to Nintendo. To be at least for now.
I genuinely think because they, as much as they do weird things and they experiment, it never feels like they're going wildly out of pocket to the point where you go, who's running the show over there, right? Like Wii U, okay, a misfire, and all of us went, yeah, I don't know about that, but we can all understand where they were going with that.
What they're trying to do.
Yeah, exactly. Or with like Alarmo, which apparently isn't selling anywhere, and everybody's going, why did they make that? But hey, it was an experiment. I like it. It didn't cost them $400 billion and a partnership with some celebrity, right?
I don't know. Did Brie Larson come out and endorse your Alarmo?
I endorse the Alarmo. I am Alarmo. I'm going to tell you.
Did you ever finish that video?
And the video's somewhere.
His Alarmo hasn't gone off. He didn't know when to start it.
I'll finish it. There's
still updates on it, by the way.
I have to tell you, it's so great. Oh man, the Alarmo's so great. I feel so guilty though that I'm gonna have to send it to Jonas so he can
if that thing
shows Jonas's own, he deserves it.
He does.
If that thing shows up at my house, there's going to be a fight for who gets to have it in their room. So
you're going to have to do the thing, Jonas, where you like get an old clock and then put the Alarmo in that clock and then put that like on your bedside so your kids don't know that it's the Alarmo.
The Alarmo. It's the greatest alarm clock I have ever owned. It is so amazing to wake up in the morning to that.
I see it at Best Buy all the time. Like Best Buy and Target have them in stock now, and I always feel like it's calling to me like the Green Goblin mask.
Oh, it is so fun,
you want
dude.
to wake up to Pikmin.
It does. And then Bowser will get all grumpy at you. It's like, I got to get up.
This is what I'm talking about. That's how I want to come into the day.
And that's every morning at 5 a.m. that thing goes.
Oh, well, at 5 a.m. that thing's going against the wall.
No. You can set the time.
No, I know. I'm just making a joke that is way early for me.
Yeah. All right, we got to get to some of these supers. We got 4 great stories on. Let me see. Hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Ubisofts and 1 Kotaku. We got to cook. All right. Speaking of cooking, the chat's been cooking. We like the chat. The chat's cooking.
I think the chat picked Kotaku, by the way. So.
Oh, okay. All right. All right. Then after the mum, we've got Mark Fields for $2 worth of quarters, saying, are there any up and coming RPGs, good RPGs coming? I don't know. Loki's not here, so I have no answer for you.
I can't think of
truly
any games that are like on the horizon that aren't like Like GTA 6.
That's kind of an RPG a little bit.
It's got the
say
elements. They'll list it as an RPG just because you can like upgrade your like combo meal at the drive-thru.
Well, and in your cars, you can upgrade your vehicles, your firearms.
Remember in
Xenoblade
San Andreas when you could get
Chronicles-
fat? That was
Yep.
awesome.
The Xenoblade Chronicles just came out on
Oh, yeah.
Nintendo. I'm
Oh, did
getting
it
that.
really?
Isn't that like the last Wii U game to come out on the Switch?
Yep. And it has been locked there forever until today.
Speaking of which, I tried to buy the Dragon Warrior remakes, and I almost picked up the older kind of remakes, but not really remakes by mistake.
The ones from like the Game Boy, Super Nintendo.
Yeah,
Those
I
are
like those
so
ones,
good.
yeah.
Those Game Boy or the Super Nintendo ones are so good. I used to have like a translation patch just for
Yeah.
that 1 and 2.
Nobody knows what we're talking about, Loki. Our viewers are too young.
actually, what I've been really wanting to pick up is a Satellaview, but it wouldn't work.
Why wouldn't it work? Do you not have like the TV connectors?
No, do you know what a Satellaview is?
If it's what I think, I do.
It was an adapter that would allow you to.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay. I am thinking of the right thing. Yeah.
Yeah, but the unless you have the full, it's kind of.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, you need the. You need the.
We
big
should get.
bot-
We
the big
should
guy.
see if Nolan would do a story on that.
Oh, Nolan would be perfect for
Nolan's
that.
probably got like 3 that he just picked up way before he even thought about content creating. He just
Well,
pulls things out, and I'm like, "Are you Shiggy's like grandson? Like, how do you have that?"
Yeah, he's got great stuff. He asked me how the other day. He's like, "How do I make?"
Best reference to Shigesato. It's Shigesato toy I've ever heard. Shiggy. Oh, Shigeru.
Yeah, Shigi Miyamoto.
I thought you were talking about the Earthbound guy, who I think probably had an influence. He had a bass fishing game on the Satellaview. Sorry,
Which is
culture.
Game of the Year.
This is the same thing I get on culture about on that marketplace of taking too long on the super chats. Go ahead.
No, well, our audience appreciates. I know Mark does, and so will Wild Man of Yavid for $10 in quarters. Dude is making sure we are ready to play. We got for no other reason than that you put up with my gibberish in chat. I heartily endorse this event or product. Thank you. Thank you for that.
A Grand Theft Hammer. What savings?
We love it. We've also got Radial Drago for £5 sterling. That's proper money. Saying, culture, we watch you suffer so that we don't have to. You deserve a hero's salute. Well, thank you. Although don't make it a Roman salute because apparently people get all upset about that. And
Roman salute's not real.
they will accuse you of a broom mustache thingy.
Because a
But I
Roman
appreciate
salute
it.
doesn't exist. There's only one type of salute like that.
I thought that was anyway. I guess I'm behind.
Yeah, don't put your heart anywhere. Or don't throw it to the audience. That's very bad. I will say this, though. Wild Man of Yavin again for $10 more. My goodness. I'm ordering pizza now. 10 to assist Jonas to purchase and add a fedora to his avatar. I would love him to wear a fedora. That'd be
The
great.
avatar would be able to rock one.
He would.
Steel Mexican Iron Man sombrero. That'll completely just.
Okay. I might have a copy
That's
of
for
that.
Cinco.
I might.
Oh, the green and the gold one? You got one of those?
No, I mean a digital, like visual PNG copy of it, because you have to remember how many Mexican Iron Man memes I've made. So I might have one of those. Thank you all so very much for your support. All right, I will say this: the chat's on fire today, and Olive Griffiths is joking about something. All these guys are great. I love all you guys. Okay, anyway, let's go. All right, so what did you guys come to as a conclusion? Are we going to Kotaku before we go to Ubisoft Block of Doom?
I think it's Kotaku, especially if it's about Bobby Kotick.
Oh, okay.
That sounds like maybe it wasn't the story you had.
Oh, Bobby Kotick. Speaking of which, for those of you watching, I will say this: Bobby Kotick maybe wasn't the bad guy you thought he was.
Oh no, he definitely was. I'm not doing apologia for Bobby Kotick. He was a bad CEO and a bad businessman.
I'm curious where you're going with this culture.
I'm just going to go to the story. Kotaku could be in deep trouble. as former Activision Blizzard CEO Bobby Kotick sues parent company for alleged defamation on controversial gaming site. Yes, this is, remember this old editor lady at Kotaku?
No, I kind of don't care about internet personalities.
Ooh.
Jen Glennon.
I genuinely don't know who this is.
Okay, I'll show you another picture maybe someday. Anyway, so in a move that that could significantly impact Kotaku and its parent company, Go Media, former Activision Blizzard CEO Bobby Kotick has filed a defamation lawsuit alleging deliberate misrepresentation by two of the media group's outlets. Filed in the Superior Court of Delaware, the suit specifically targets Kotaku and Gizmodo, citing coverage that referenced long withdrawn allegations unrelated to the topic at hand. Yeah.
What is that? What does that even mean?
Mm.
So, do you want to break this down, Jonas, real fast?
No, I was actually coming in to hear about this. I knew that Kotick was suing them for defamation because of their reporting, but he waited until a lot of things had settled before he did that. Also, I'm kind of curious why he waited so long, considering the value of Kotaku has gone down so far.
Okay, so some of the claims that were made by people he is alleging were made by the guild, the Writers Guild, to like fan the flames of potential controversy in his organization. They were trying to do a circumventing Me Too maneuver. But Kotick contends that both Kotaku and Gizmodo published articles regarding his rumored involvement in a potential acquisition of TikTok. Kotick alleges that the outlets unnecessarily revived past accusations. These are the things that he's upset about against him that had already been dismissed as part of their coverage. He also pointed it out to them that they needed to revise their stories, and they mostly didn't. But anyway, the lawsuit states that he referenced that the reference claims stemming from prior investigations into Activision Blizzard had been conclusively disproven by numerous investigations, yet they were still used in the articles. So they just kept repeating disproven facts as facts. So Kotick argues.
Keep going.
Yeah, so this Kotick argues this inclusion served no journalistic purpose and was designed to cause reputational harm. So, in other words, if the outlets knew that these were really not legitimate allegations,
Okay. Or keep
Go
going.
ahead.
Finish out because I have context, but close out.
So let me just say what I understand about the Bobby Kotick situation before any of this. There was allegations of some kind of like Cosby rooms, and that's about as specific as I'm going to get. Yeah. Which they were making jokes about it. I think they were joking about it, but at the same time. So I don't think there was literally some kind of situation like that, other than they wanted young ladies.
Oh no, there was a room of like there are photo evidence of that room.
Right, really poor taste, really like boys' club. And I'm not approving of any of this when I say this, but some gross things that were allowed to continue that probably shouldn't happen when you have a company that large. Well, probably shouldn't happen at all. But when you have a company that large that has an HR department, you really is not okay. And whether or not Kotick knew about it. And are there other aspects that I'm forgetting here that they were allowing some behavior that was really not okay from a legal standpoint, especially if they didn't want to get sued for employee harassment?
I mean, not just if we're going by what was alleged and what came out in court documents and everything, it's not just poor taste jokes. It is straight up a like really bad culture of, downplaying harassment and, encouraging that behavior. And And guys, I know a lot of people in our audience are going to be quick because of where we are in our atmosphere to go, oh, that's all bull. That never happened. But these things still do happen, even though that they've been abused in accusations. They still happen.
Yeah. And there are currently people in our culture that are using that as cover for some pretty awful behavior. So yeah, it does happen. I'm not saying it didn't happen.
Oh yeah, I know you're not.
But I'm just it's fascinating here to see Kotick has decided to go after Kotaku for, it sounds like, reporting on it. Now, I don't necessarily trust Kotaku to be fair with the facts.
Now, that's where I'm going to jump into the story, because surprisingly, I kind of think Kotick is foolish poop, because like I said before, he's always been a bad CEO. I'm not going to sit here for any second and try and rehabilitate his image or say he got unfairly maligned, because Kotick sucks. He ran all of those companies into the ground. Activision Blizzard is where it is because of his leadership. Now, in terms of this lawsuit, I haven't seen the Gizmodo article, but I have read the Kotaku one, and I pulled it up a couple minutes ago to double check what I was going to say. But here's the problem. I don't think Kotick he has nothing to do here. Like, I don't see him winning this, because all Kotaku does is they go, Bobby Kotick wants to buy TikTok, and they talk about it. And then they have a section at the end that says Kotick left Activision Blizzard because, like, right here, he left after this event. He left while this was happening. They do not say he did this. They do not say he's at fault. They do not say any of that stuff. They simply provide context on this is what happened. Now, after the article went out, they updated it and said they settled, so we included details about the settlement and all their denials, so it's there, updated like an hour after they put it up. So follow me here, because if Kotick wins this would open up places like Bounding into Comics, or even that Park Place, up to similar defamation lawsuits, because all he's saying, what Kotaku wrote, nothing is wrong. Nothing is unrelated. Why is he suddenly going after TikTok? It's because he's not at Activision anymore. Why isn't he at Activision anymore? Well, here's the series of events. CEO. Right, exactly. So we know that, for example, that Park Place or Bounding into Comics, if Taika Waititi comes out and he says, "Oh, I'm opening up a charity to give computers to kids," and then we would, me or Marvin write an article that says Taika's doing this, but don't forget that he's also kind of a butt because he treated, Thor: Love and Thunder with like disdain and everything. If Kotick wins, then Waititi can go, that had nothing to do with my charity, and it's negative, so I want it gone, and you guys are in trouble now.
So what we're saying here is, as much as we dislike Kotaku, we don't want Kotick to win this one.
Bingo bongo.
Culture. Loki.
Isn't this the guy that had Activision sue CBS Paramount over the Star Trek IP because they wouldn't let him make? Yeah. I'm kind of with Spencer on this one. I mean, if that happens, everybody's you're already to the point where Ubisoft is threatening to sue you if you talk bad about what they're doing or who's doing what or whatever. That's not harassment. That's just, we don't like your stuff and we don't like how you handled something, or we don't like you do something. If this continues, who's even going to care anymore? Who's going to care about any of this? Nobody, because you can't say anything. You can't review anything. You can't talk about anything without being worried about getting sued. If they want to go to these extremes, let them. I highly doubt it's going to do them any good.
Is a misattributed quote a problem?
If it's not corrected, if they're given the opportunity to correct it and they refuse to do it, it is a problem.
I have a feeling that there's going to be, I don't know. I think that's going to get pushed, but regardless, I feel like no
quote from him though.
No. It was reference to the other part of the story, which Marvin alluded to, which is the Mr. Beast misstatements that Kotaku placed on his.
I don't care about that.
Something
loser.
Jimmy said.
I have no idea what he's up to.
Regardless, I'm starting to feel like there's going to be a lot of retrial of journalistic integrity and transparency in the courts for probably the next 3 to 5 years.
Yep.
So
Not
I
good.
think this is just one of those things.
And
so.
It's all bad. Remember, guys, you got to, if you really care about free speech, you got to defend it for people you don't like.
No, absolutely. I'm with you, Spencer. Don't misunderstand.
I'm not saying, I'm not directing that at you. I meant more to
Yeah.
the collective, like audience, like the world.
No, I mean, I like, there's a lot of people that I disagree with vehemently, but I will defend that they have the right to say their opinion on things. Yeah. No, that's not it. It's just, I look at it and I go, this is not going to end anytime soon because a lot of people were treated unfairly, and continue to be, on whether or not they're press or not the press. You're going to see a lot of this being fought because the courts under activist judges have been making some really crazy decisions. So, especially when it comes to speech, and I look, I want free speech. I don't mind if Kotaku says something silly. The problem is if it's actionable, that's a whole different context. So you can say silly things, you can have silly opinions, but if you report something as fact, that's an entirely other situation. So,
but it is fact, which is what they've reported, which is why I'm banging the war drum so much. Because they didn't go read the article, Culture. I know we all don't like Kotaku, but they didn't do anything here.
Yeah, I wasn't actually referencing Kotaku, but it's fine.
Well, that's what we're talking about. Like that's
no, I understand. I'm sorry. I thought we pulled out and did a broader look. Talking about free speech, but okay.
Well,
anyway,
Evan did read the article though.
Yeah, good for you. And it does explain things. And I watched. Did you guys watch the video with Kotick and the people involved in that interview?
I have not.
Okay.
No.
I did. So because it came across it last night before I was even aware of this, that we had an article on it yesterday. Regardless, I just thought it was fascinating because Kotick was making a point, and the guy that was the interviewer, and I can't recall his name, but he's pretty popular and seems to be pretty fair and centered, was just kind of giving him room to run. I'll try to relocate that video for you guys to take a look at, but there's some elements in the story that Marvin put together and maybe other people have seen that may not have made it entirely clear what that conversation was about and explicitly what Kotick's complaints were, because I think some of those have largely been missed. Regardless, I'm not going to defend that guy. I didn't like him. I agree with Spencer's characterization as far as being a poor leader and leading Activision Blizzard into the position where they had to be sold off to Microsoft, which is going to further damage that company forever. It's probably basically over at this point, and I think WoW is probably the last thing that's clinging on to hope. But those are my perspectives.
Where is WoW Classic at this point? Like, is it caught up already?
I don't even know. Does
anybody know? Because I feel like that's the only thing people really care about. But then I know that they're already up to the one that people liked, which was the like Cataclysm or whatever. So I'm like, okay, where do they go from here?
Yeah, the ground.
So I have no idea.
Yeah, regardless, we got some supers before we get into Ubisoft Fate of Doom. And I want to get to these before we lose ourselves to that. Siani Reese for $5.25. Thank you. Says, hey guys, thanks for giving me all of my gaming news. Well, you're very welcome, and we'll continue to do that and occasionally a shout about it. So that'll be fun. Gory-Eyed Beast for $2 Canadian says, why sue Kotaku now? Now that they're worth nothing. I honestly don't know.
I'm going to say time, money, and spite.
You think so? You think it was spite?
That's a guess, by the way, if Bobby happens to watch it.
Well, no, and that's why I said you think. You think that? Or because I think that he really was just waiting for an opportunity. I think it was opportunity to present itself. So
I think you guys are, I think it's right between, or I think both of you are on the mark. I think it's a little bit of spite, knowing like they did this to me, I'm going to get back to them, even if he's just completely unfounded. But then I also think it is not opportunistic, but there were probably things that had to fall into place. There were probably like a contract here, a litigation here, blah, 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 blah. We all know how these things get really complicated really fast, or really weedy really fast.
Yeah, I mean, it's and again, I mean, sometimes people that have money and have an axe to grind and can make it painful for somebody else will just do it because as
Yeah.
Jonas said, spite.
Yeah, and you can't give the blue hairs an open door. Okay, part of that, you can blame the blue-haired Landwells for all the problems in the world and say that's everything wrong with gaming, but there are individuals that open that door
Yeah.
and let this happen. And irresponsibility, taking advantage of your position, you can add all the little things into that. When you have something that you let happen like this, and he did let it happen, whether he was directly responsible or not, I have no idea. I wasn't there, didn't see it, have no clue, but he knew about it and it happened and he allowed it. Okay, if you're the CEO of a company, guess what you do? There's a what? No, show me now. Take me. I'd be like, Spencer, you take me there right now. I'd
Right?
open
Yeah,
that
yeah.
door and be like, everybody out. I'm writing down
I'm doing
names.
the thing in the movies where like I've got all the papers and I'm shuffling. Sir, you can't. Sir, wait.
And you've got to take care of it, and you have to be a leader. Leaders have to lead.
Yeah,
That's
well,
just the way it is.
and in my
Seems way.
opinion, he wasn't doing a good job of that. And again, that we've just gone over the end result, but
The microtransactions.
yeah, well, yeah, and play to win for
Oh yeah.
for wow. But Radial Drago for another £5 sterling.
Drago.
Thank you. Radial Drago says this seems like two devils fighting. Everyone loses regardless of who wins. Oh yeah, you end up with a lot of fire everywhere, I think.
Yeah,
Maybe.
the worst outcome. So I disagree and I agree with that because again, as you got like I'm not gonna beat it again, but I want Kotaku to win because it's a journalistic thing. But you are right in that no matter who wins, we lose because either Kotick or Kotaku gets to take a victory lap, and they're gonna be. I don't want to see either of them happy.
To me, it's the larger entity, Go Media. I think Geo Media is
Go Media. Yeah, you're right.
They've been trying to re-steer that ship for a long time.
Yeah.
I think
Culture,
that
I was surprised when I like clicked the first headline because it was like Kotaku, and I went, "Oh, they're in trouble." And then they went, "It's actually Go Media," and I went, "They're still around? They're that strong still?"
well, I mean, they still own a few nameplates. It's funny. Deadspin is already off and running under another entity.
Dude,
So
I just looked this. A lot of they got rid of a lot of things last year.
they didn't have a choice. They sold them off to a lot of holding companies. It's just
Yeah.
like when Sports Illustrated got sold off, it went to a holding company.
I forgot about
So,
that.
and of course, this is my wheelhouse. This is stuff I like to talk
exactly.
about. But when you look at that, and especially Geo Media, they've been trying to seriously, they've been trying to correct their trajectory for a long time, and their editors are killing them. It's like they keep sending whatever the branches that they're working out of into like a spiral of doom. And I actually feel for them because, I mean, if you went in there and you're like, okay, this is a digital outlet, they have, a decent reception, they still have ad revenue coming in. Maybe they were expending too much on it or whatever. But I think that's one of the conversations that I'd like to have someday with somebody about the fact that Geo Media was driven down by their editors more so than they were by Geo itself, the company that came in to buy them all up, all these little outlets. But anyway, thank you, Radio Drago. You're awesome. And of course, we got the Wild Man of Yavin for another $5 in co-orders, which we appreciate. Free speech. Jonas pretends to be a gamer, but dang, he looks dapper. Discuss.
This is my avatar.
The dapper gamer.
He's a dapper gamer.
Yeah, I play a lot of Nintendo with my kids.
Nintendo.
Or
He's
of
an
course,
enlightened
Fortnite.
gentle sir, so he must dress the part.
Yes.
Jonas comes in here looking like Cody Rhodes on WWE.
But see, I'm in an arcade.
That's because you're the owner. Get out of here, narc.
Yeah. All right.
Thank you, Wild Man, if you haven't.
Enough swings at Jonas. We love Jonas. So yeah.
I'll swing with Jonas.
What?
Anyway,
wait, what? Didn't mean. I meant like a swing. I meant like a swing.
This is a family show, Spencer. It's a family show. Speaking of family shows,
Repent.
we got 5 stories on.
It's inside of me. It's clawing out.
We have 5 interconnected stories that I have to get through. Okay.
Lego.
Here we go. Welcome to the block of Ubisoft sadness, folks. We are going to talk a little bit about what Doom looks like and what the Doom scroll could be for Ubisoft. For example, it turns out that Ubisoft made a mistake. Ubisoft allegedly got a VTuber banned on Twitch for supporting Assassin's Creed Shadows. That's in the diabolically new low. I have to tell you, the writer over here at FandomWire got the most out of a headline. Ubisoft's mishandling of Assassin's Creed Shadows sponsorship. It was sponsored.
Yeah, it was a sponsorship culture.
Causing the VTuber to get banned. So you're like they're like, hey man, we're going to send you this game, say some nice things about it, break it down, do your VTube thing. Yeah. Then they go, yoink. The MCA.
That's how twitchy they are with all of this.
I see what you did there. How twitchy. Anyway, a popular VTuber, Olivia Monroe, was banned from Twitch after Ubisoft submitted a complaint. Ubisoft's failure to double check the timing before filing the complaint sparked outrage across social media. The latest blunder adds to Ubisoft's history of conflicts just in the last 2 weeks alone, further damaging its reputation. So the streamer getting a sponsor to play a hot new game like Assassin's Creed Shadows is hitting the jackpot. That's right. They make money. It's a chance to play an exciting title before most others. Show it off to your fans and get paid for it. What's not to love? Well, turns out that dream quickly turned into a nightmare for one VTuber. Man, I'd have my attorney cranking out a letter so fast. Instead of basking in the glory of her sponsorship, she found herself banned on Twitch.
It's your V-tourney, okay? Not your A-tourney.
Oh, excuse me, my V-tourney. Sounds gross. Anyway, yeah, banned on Twitch. And who's to blame? None other than Ubisoft. You might ask why, because apparently someone at the studio can't read a clock properly. Welcome to the most bizarre sponsorship disaster in recent memory. So apparently Olivia Monroe got ganked. She was expected to stream the game on a specific date and time. Seems normal. As planned, she went live, met all the requirements, and played the game for the required number of hours because they asked for a minimum. By the way, if you ever see somebody doing a live read or a sponsored read, they're paid a flat fee for X amount of time. If they go over, all's well for that ends well.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So, however, shortly after the stream ended with Twitch, the Twitch account was banned. The reason Ubisoft had submitted a complaint alleging that she streamed a game at the wrong time.
And we're talking AM and PM here. I don't know if that'll be in this article or not, but AM, PM. She streamed at 7 a.m. They had her down for PM, and they still did this.
So when you look deep into that, the studio misread the time. Exactly what Loki just said. So yeah.
What a crock. I mean, honestly, when you work with content creators, and I'm not talking about any content creator that is known that I work with right now, because I have
Mexican Iron Man.
Right, exactly. Me and him have cut ties. Let me tell you, that's why he doesn't stream anymore as part of the agreement.
Yeah, that's why he's not a YouTuber anymore.
Not a YouTuber. These deals, when they happen, usually content creators are not as well versed in what legally has to happen on all of these kind of things, or even the people who are trying to do the arrangement of the playing of these games may not be the ones who are actually doing the legal on this. So it can cause all kinds of messes. I was working on a brand integration at some point with a large company, and someone said something that was the same feeling as their tagline, and the legal from that company didn't like that it was close. It wasn't even the same phrase, and I had to certify that I had removed it from the brand integration.
Yeesh.
So this is the kind of thing where giant corporations get involved with 3 or 4 intermediaries, and none of them specifically know what they're allowed to do. And legal would rather go too far rather than
not far. Yeah, not like leave any opening.
Right. There should have been some kind of grace for it. This is a person we're working with, and they played our game. They're advertising our game.
Right.
Yeah.
Like that's what really gets me about this is, well, first of all, #1 test case for military time. Everybody do it. I have my like personal phone on that. It doesn't. I'm dumb, so I mix up my own times. But
This
the
explains
phone,
why you're so weird, Spencer.
exactly. I know. Yeah, I'll
You
hit you
peep
guys up at
clock.
23 o'clock. I'll be there. Don't worry.
Look,
But the thing that really gets me is that this is one of those examples of these companies not taking responsibility and then like for their own failures and then putting it on you. Whether it's
Yep.
Marvel going, oh, all the fans are racist because they didn't show up for this movie, or Ubi going, oh, they broke the rules and they streamed it early. It's like you kind of set us up for that. You can't get us in. What the heck?
yeah, it's a bad look, and that's all Ubisoft has been doing. It's all bad looks. I mean, you have the backlash is obviously from this particular Twitch thing, but they're setting themselves up for more
Right?
backlash. and that's the purpose of the next story. And this is one that Marvin put together that I thought was genius. That we absolutely have to talk about. Spencer's going to love it, and y'all out there too are going to love it. And if you're interested in how much I will charge to do your read, I'll tell you at the end of this. But let's do it this way. Let's say if Ubisoft screwed up something simple like AM/PM, how badly are they going to screw up what they claim may or may not be harassment? Ubisoft has deployed a legal team and government help to silence Assassin's Creed Shadows critics and combat development harassment.
Where's the government come from? That's
Canada.
Yeah, that's what I want to know.
Yeah,
no, but like you can't say it's a government, like they're having government help. Where'd the government help come from? I haven't heard this bit.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll read the story.
And I reported on it, so that's why I'm curious, because I think that might be a little out of pocket.
I don't know, but I know that Assassin's Creed Shadows is set to launch now. I mean, tomorrow, right? And I'm going to, man, this weekend's going to suck. Anyway, Ubisoft's mounting desperation has reached a new level of suck. Reports now indicate that the company has quietly enlisted a special team tasked with shielding the developers from what they call online harassment. Okay, online harassment's very specific. It's not saying that this game stinks, this is why this game stinks. That's just critique. It's not harassment. I hope they aren't trying to conflate the two. However, it's vague and undefined nature of what Ubisoft actually considers harassment, which is a problem that's raising serious concerns and has many questioning whether the company is simply using this initiative to silence critics and control the narrative around its latest highly controversial title. I'm going to tell you, I will be streaming on this channel, and I ain't going to pull punches if, like, the graphics start to fail. Like if a katana pokes through somebody's shirt or cloak or whatever, or their back or through their body or whatever, because I've seen some really horrific stuff. But according to an anonymous Ubisoft employee speaking with French outlet BFM TV, Ubisoft has in place a sweeping anti-online harassment campaign ahead of the game's release. This includes dedicated teams to monitoring platforms like X, YouTube, Reddit, and others. Ubisoft reportedly has lawyers already lined up, preparing to file complaints against those they believe are crossing the line. Here's the problem. Since YouTube is a react first, figure it out later kind of approach to any of this content stuff, this could be a disaster for not just YouTubers, but eventually Ubisoft overall. Because pulling the string on this is going to be bad. And just like the Naughty Dog stuff way back when, with we talked about earlier, the Last of Us Part 2, this could get them into serious negative publicity in a whole new way. So while there's doubt that the personal threats directed at employees are unacceptable, there is no doubt about that. Many fans and industry observers are asking the critical question, where is Ubisoft drawing the line? Is it negative reviews, memes, or even fair criticism? Where does that fall under their conflating of harassment, as I'm going to use or say?
Now, there's a guy named, is it Shohei?
Sohei. Yeah. He was one of the original people. Go ahead.
He's had complaints about, I mean, I've looked at his content. It didn't seem to be derogatory or any of the things.
No.
I saw the video. I didn't see any problem with at least the first video. I can't speak to in somebody's entire library here, but all he did was say that he didn't think it was very Japanese. He's a Japanese YouTuber, and pointed out all the problems he had with it. And Ubisoft was going after him. And did they block his videos?
He got, I think he got claimed on one of them. One of the most recent stories. I don't actually think I have that one pulled up here, but
it may be a part of this actually.
Yeah, he's been treated unfairly. But as far as the government backing, Ubisoft is working directly with Canada's Communications Security Establishment, the CSE, to monitor online discourse. CSE's involvement, an agency that's tied closely to government cybersecurity and oversight, has sparked fresh concerns about whether a major gaming corporation should have access to such state-backed tools for monitoring public commentary.
Absolutely not. They should.
Well, look, they're getting really socialist up north, and I'm sorry, my Canadian friends, I love you to pieces, but your government's reaching, and you should try to tell them to calm down a bit. But the idea of a government-affiliated body assisting in silencing criticism, not illegal behavior, but simply criticism, has raised red flags for those worried about growing censorship in gaming spaces. Is this truly about protecting employees, or is it about protecting Ubisoft's brand image at all costs, since they're on the verge of bankruptcy, something else we will be talking about in a video coming soon to a channel near you. So, gentlemen, I want to stop here because obviously this is the main outline of the story. Are we overreacting to having government bodies get involved in this? Are we okay with conflating criticism with harassment?
So I want to make one thing clear here. There is no current evidence that this initiative that they're doing right now is directly linked to whatever work they're doing. Good job on Marvin for finding that they are working together, but there's been no direct confirmation that this is a government thing that they're doing right now.
Okay, fair enough. To go back to something we talked about earlier in the show, this is censorship. We should feel free to complain about these in whatever way we so choose. And if they say that we got something wrong, if we outright try to lie about something or misrepresent something with malice, intentionally misrepresent with malice, okay, then tell us to correct it. This to me, there's so much about this game that it's verifiable, and they have failed so hard at correcting some of the things that, like the whole Thomas Lockley thing, which I don't even know how that Thomas Lockley thing got so out of proportion from some guy apparently writes historical fiction in Japan, which is re-released in the United States as historical fact, and then they make a game about him. There is so much fog over what is actually wrong with this game versus what is easily confirmed as wrong with this game. I want this to be over with. I'm looking forward to seeing what culture has to endure here with it. I don't have a lot of hope for it. There are Assassin's Creed games that are great that will probably play pretty similarly to this. So, just get it over with.
And as content creators, as YouTubers, as Spencer writes, Jonas, I know Jonas has written stuff, culture has. We've all been told at some point, you stink, or you should find a different job, or whatever it is that their opinion is on us or whatever. We've all been told that. We have a thick skin. If you don't have thick skin, get out of the game. Yeah. Does that mean I approve of someone threatening someone's safety or anything like that? No. Well, you know what? Sticks and stones, man. You learned that back in kindergarten. Get with the program. If someone doesn't like you or doesn't like what you do, poo-poo on them. It's not a threat. That's when you gear up and you do something like this, is when you have actual threats to people's safety. Not when someone doesn't like your stuff. This is so, and culture said nothing against Canadian, but this is so corporate Canada. That's what it sounds like. Do not say anything bad about us whatsoever. We're the bestest ever, and you can't say anything meany about us, or we'll stick the government on you.
Well, I'll also say, like, if you want to defend your product, that's one thing. But if you tell people they can't talk about something, I mean, the Streisand effect, or maybe we should rename it the Harambe effect. It's clearly documented how this turns out. There's no question in my mind that this just fuels the fire.
Yeah, and it really does ignite a light under all of that has gone before, which is why I'm so focused on this, and hopefully we're catching some of that for all of you that have watched us. So if you have thoughts about that and you're watching on the replay, #replay gang, and let us know what you think. Now, there's a reason that Ubisoft is reacting the way that they are. It's all on the line for them. There's no doubt about it. One of the wonderful writers in our community put together an amazing article for a place called Bounding Into Comics. And I think it's important to talk about it because if there were stakes, if there were high stakes for Ubisoft, this is the time it's reached its fullest, the biggest, the grandest stakes imaginable for Assassin's Creed Shadows. If the game performs moderately, we're really in trouble. You got that quote from somewhere, Spencer. What do you got to say about this?
That's really all there is to the story. Is so a French news outlet, the same one we're talking about, they talked to a bunch of Ubisoft Quebec devs ahead of the upcoming GDC conference that is starting. Oh, it started a couple of days ago.
Yeah,
and they were kind of asking them, what's the vibe like? What are you guys all thinking about the future with this game? And yeah, one of the devs basically came out and said just that. Like, if it sells well, then we can breathe a sigh of relief. If it doesn't, then we're in trouble.
Yeah. And you're right. I mean, in your article, you say an admission that will come as little surprise to any of the larger player population. This is the expected thing. They're on the verge of what's the fancy way of saying it? Bankruptcy. That's right. Although I don't know with whom they would have to claim or follow that up. But I find it fascinating that they're so candid. I mean, a developer being this candid from a company that's, usually so tight-lipped on their internal machinations. They're just saying it as it is, I think. And but I don't know. Jonas, do you have any additional context to add to this? Because I think that this particular thing just kind of says it all. They're in desperation, and I'm not sure that there's a way out for them.
Jonas peaced out.
Oh, okay. What did you think, Loki?
How dare he?
Obviously, that this is why they're so twitchy. Like I said earlier, this is why they're going after one that has anything negative to say about it. This is why they're on high alert, because they know exactly everything everybody's been doing. They're probably watching this stream right now. They probably got someone sitting there watching it right now, waiting for someone to make a mistake, say something, so they can hit the poo-poo on you button. They are scared.
But here's the thing. They have reason to be scared. They have reason that they're getting criticism here. They've made so many epic levels of mistakes. And they even have, and we're going to get to that in just a little bit, and you're going to want to watch that video as well. The Japanese government's invested in this, and even more so than they were before. But Spencer, this game, and this was at the GDC, as you mentioned, is all they have on the table right now. There's nothing else coming, right? Right, yep, Spencer?
This is their big, this is the, what do you call it? The big
Money
thing they've
maker.
got coming up. Yeah. So
Yeah.
if this doesn't do good, not just like they said, not just moderately, but good, they're going to be in trouble.
Yeah, and the developer actually said that they really needed the extra month or 2 or 3. How many times did they postpone this game? More than once. But they needed that extra time to crunch like they never had before to get it finished. And so that there were seniors who were working every day to complete it. It was pretty crazy. So, I don't doubt that. I feel like they really wanted to release something maybe that didn't have as many bugs as everything else that has been released lately. Because we've been getting a lot of incomplete games. And I think they also realized just how important it was not to continually rush a game every single year for Assassin's Creed, which they had fallen into that pattern for a while, which is why they had so many different studios. But I don't know. Do you guys think that this is going to fall within their top earners, or do you think this is this really is going to fail or flop like we all expect it to?
It's not going to. It's going to do okay, and honestly, it's probably going to do well.
You'll see it. You'll see it as the pre-game giveaway for Nvidia cards and Radeon cards, and you'll see it in free. Oh, get this game, get the new Shadow Creed if you buy this, or get this computer and get the. You'll see package deals where they make their money back on all of that. It's gonna sell. It's just not gonna sell gangbusters.
I still think it's going to do gangbusters, because here's the problem, right? And I really try to hammer this home a lot, which is our community, our sphere, everybody we know. It's good that we call all this stuff out. It's good that we vote with our wallets. It's good that we make our voices heard and complain or criticize the things we don't like. But we are also not the giant monolith that a lot of people want to frame us as. We have impact. No, hold on. I know you're not saying that. I just hold on a second.
Okay.
So
okay.
We're not like this giant monolith, right? So unfortunately, while we can go, oh, this game is going to be bad, this game is going to suck, it really is dependent on the normie audience, the bigger customer base. And unfortunately, I think that they're all still interested the Assassin's Creed mystique hasn't really gone yet with that casual audience. They will still show up for all of it. So Marvin brings this up a lot whenever he gets to talk about these sort of situations. But this game, I think it's going to still sell well. It's going to be the next game, right, that we really need to look at, because this is the one where it'll come out. Everybody will go, oh, that was bad. Maybe they'll start looking up controversies. People will start talking about it more. And if we get a next one, that'll be the one to see oh, that's where those sales are gone, because everybody got Shadows and went, yeah, never mind.
You make a good point. I'm not sure. Valhalla has suffered from net unit sales issues, not anywhere near their expectation. It wasn't near the volume that they wanted.
Second best-selling one, or their best-selling one.
You think so?
I know so. I looked up the numbers.
Okay. Do you remember what the sales were?
Not off the top of my head, but I know it was their best-selling one.
Odyssey was 2. Even in the article, Marvin pointed that out. He said Valhalla was their number 1 game, with Odyssey is their second.
And then Odyssey is second.
That's wild. Is that because of unit sales or because of financial sales? Net bookings?
Net booking. Or I'm pretty sure it's units sold, because they're talking pre-order numbers.
Wow. Okay. I'm going to look that up, because for whatever reason, I thought that did very poorly as far as unit sales went.
Lots of people liked that one.
All right.
Or at least bought that one.
There was a lot of net bookings because of a lot of, microtransactions and stuff like that. So I thought that's, all right. I'll look it up. So regardless, all I know is that if it does well, but isn't good and is poorly received, I think you're right, Spencer. I think that the next game will be even worse off.
And that's what I'm seeing right now. Just from seeing various reviews that have flashed across my timeline, even from big places like IGN or a GameSpot, they're going, there's some cool things, but overall, they didn't fix what was wrong with Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, but some of that too was I'm sure you know better than I do who said this. There was the Assassin's Creed has problems, but we're going to give it a 10 out of 10.
that always happens.
Review with
so that's always
problems.
That's always going to happen. But I'm more referencing this isn't getting perfect 10s across the board, and people are coming out and saying there are definitive things that are wrong with this game. You're always going to get some weird chill site like an IGN or whatever that goes, oh, there's, this game shot me in the face, but 10 out of 10 because I could do co-op.
Oh, no, right?
So,
I think that was a quote from VG 24/7.
Yes.
They gave him a 10 of 10.
But it doesn't, I'm not specifically saying IGN. I'm just saying you're always going to find a site that goes off like that. But that's why you got to sort of look at the collective, right? And when I look at the collective, I'm seeing people go, yeah, I liked some stuff about it, but they messed up. They still didn't fix it.
Yeah. I just want to see what it's going to be at the end of the day. And I want people to see, my what I have to go through when I play it. I think that's when people say that, I think that's more informative, but we won't know until the very end. But we're not done, because this game is driving a backlash in a country for a specific reason. This game is frustrating for Japan, and the Japanese government's worried, Spencer, and I'm not sure if
they're
he's
crying about it.
Yeah, exactly. And
I
I'm
don't
not sure
agree
if
with them. They're being little crybabies.
okay, well, I'm not sure if you've seen this story. This is from Insider Gaming, and they're reporting that Japan's government's worried about imitation attacks based on Assassin's Creed Shadows.
Oh no, maybe we should stop having, violent comic books in GTA because somebody else might do a violent act in a public place. I don't buy this fear mongering.
Okay, for those of you who aren't aware, and I know that Spencer is acutely aware, the Japanese government is concerned. In one of the discussions during a recent diet was that some of the game's scandalous scenes where Yasuke is performing some heinous acts includes destroying the interior of a temple. Am I mischaracterizing that at all?
No, you're right.
Yeah. So the discussion. Yeah, so in a recent discussion, Japan's prime minister voiced a strict response to these concerns, answering points raised by other party members suggesting that imitation attacks could occur in real life. To us, this would be similar to what we see with the just stop oil kind of a situation where people are disgracing priceless works of art and things that.
It is not the same thing at all. Culturally.
You don't think so?
No. Nobody is harming nobody is going into the shrine and physically destroying anything. It is a digital recreation in a video game. I can digitally go shoot up the streets of New York City in GTA. I'm not going to, this is one of those things where they're letting their feelings override reality, right? And I also need to point out that the guy who raised the issue to the Diet yesterday or the day before, the Diet has to entertain every point that's come up. They don't. Right. And so that's why they go, okay, I hear you. Anybody can say anything. And the particular politician who brought this up to the government is he's an embattled politician who is fighting for his life to keep his seat. He is massively unpopular within his party. So this is one of those things where he's just going out there to go, oh, I can whip up a fervor and get support.
Well, Ashiba Shigeru, did I say that properly? The prime minister?
Well,
you knew it was a diet, not a diet. I've been calling it a diet.
Yeah, but I don't know the individual. I know the institutional body that's been existing for 60 years.
All right. Okay. I'm sorry. I always consider you an expert on this because you always sound so expertish. Expert-like. Anyway. So he said that it is absolutely unacceptable to graffiti a shrine. It is nothing but an insult to the country. It is natural to have respect for the culture and religion of a country. And I think it is important to send out the message that we will not tolerate the behavior that does not respect the culture and religion of a country, and we will not tolerate it. All of that seems straightforward.
Can I just say, change the channel, man?
Yeah, exactly.
You know what? I do not like the beginning of Far Cry 5. I think the beginning of Far Cry 5 and this church compound and all this stuff I grew up watching, I didn't like it. You know what I did? I refunded my game. I got a refund. I didn't keep it. Why? Because I wasn't interested. Once I got to that point, I was like, you know what? I don't really want to go down this political, religious, blah, blah, blah. So I'm just not going to play it. I understand that might piss some people off that are like, I don't think things should be disrespected. And that's why I turned it off.
Well, then if they're gonna say that, I don't want things getting disrespected, then I'm only going to respect your opinion if you are consistent across the board, right? Like there are so many Japanese games that make fun of Americans, and there's so many other games that make fun of Europeans or let you destroy certain quote unquote cultural sites. I don't see anybody crapping about that.
No, I think you're right about that. But again, this is just one of many of the things that they've been having to deal with here. That I think they're going to find more and more political objections when the game releases.
Right, but this is again, like with the Kotaku thing, this is an instance where we should be on Ubisoft's side. For somebody to say you cannot depict this period because you offended me, that's literally the thing we've all been pushing against for the last like 20 or like 10 years. I'm not just going to go over because all of a sudden, oh, it's a lib making fun of a religion. Like, I get out of my face with that.
Yeah, no, I think it's interesting because, the commentary coming out of the country, something we have to cover on a stream like this or a video like this.
Oh yeah, well, we can cover it. I'm just saying they are full of it.
Yeah.
This is a threat to artistic expression and it shouldn't be validated.
Okay. No, I agree with your point. I'm just reporting on what they're reacting to inside the country.
When we're reporting, we need to also inform everybody about the real situation. That's our job my job as a reporter.
Right. And I think I did a fair job of going there and moderating this discussion. So,
and I wouldn't be cool with anybody actually in real life disrespecting an engaged fan. I'd be absolutely against that.
I hope it doesn't happen. I'm not, again, unlike, things happening here in this country currently, I don't imagine that people can be influenced into doing something like that. But then again, Johnny Somali went to Korea and made a fool out of himself. So that's an entirely other thing.
That's not even related, man.
No,
Johnny Somali wasn't influenced by somebody. He didn't see it on TV and go, I'm going to go recreate that.
That's
he decided
true.
to go be an ass by himself. It's a completely different situation.
It's like the Pauls. It's like Jake and Logan.
Yeah, if anything, that's what he would have looked at.
Finally, back to the idea that Ubisoft is in kind of a desperation mode. We have one final thing to talk about when it comes to that particular thing. Ubisoft is going out of its way right now to protect itself any way it possibly can. And it looks like something that I don't think I've seen before, at least not for a video game company. Maybe you guys have. Maybe you can give me a different anecdote that I am unfamiliar with. But right now, Ubisoft is forming a new gaming entity, kind of another company, trying to scramble for survival. They're looking for outside investors amid their financial freefall, which I think we've noticed their stock's gone down a bit. If you look at the 5-year trend, it's nothing but seemingly a line downward. And Marvin put the story together, and then I started to look into it a little bit. And I'm going, this is an IP stash, perhaps. This is a way to acquire IP from a failing or bankrupt company. First of all, I don't know, and maybe you guys do, who you would be going bankrupt with. I'm not sure about the bankruptcy procedures in France, which is where this company is based. But I do know this, that according to Bloomberg, the French publisher is reaching out to a global and French-based investment funds with bids expected by the end of the month. One name being floated, once against Tencent, and the Chinese tech giant already owns a considerable portion of them. The move comes as little surprise to those following Ubisoft's downward spiral. Over the past few years, the company has suffered a series of financial setbacks, failed game launches, and controversial management decisions, all of which we've covered extensively here on That Park Place, on That Game Place, on Bounding Into Comics, and other places that you trust to follow this kind of news. So from declining sales to bloated workforce of over 18,000, that's a lot for a game studio. Costing nearly 750 million annually, and that's euros. Good gravy. Ubisoft has struggled to maintain its position in an increasingly competitive market, and there are a lot of game makers out there. So desperate times, desperate measures makes perfect sense. So the decision to form a new entity outside of Ubisoft specifically for its core intellectual properties is widely viewed as a last-ditch effort to stabilize the sinking ship. Now, mind you, and Spencer, you're probably familiar with this. The family, the 5 brothers there, they have another entity that's actually owns their portion of the stock invested for them personally, right?
So I unfortunately have to be the disappointment here. I really don't know what the hell this is. Like
Yeah.
even with my business background and like my degree, like I look
Right.
at this and I don't know. All they're doing is like making an entity and then giving it like making it the owning umbrella entity, but they're not saying like we're gonna offload it or we're gonna change any. They're just saying we're creating it. So I would ask you, Culture, genuinely. I would go to you and go, buddy.
From the outside, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, hit us, Loki.
Something to contribute real quick. I worked for a company in Fort Worth called Metroplex Welding Supply. This was back in the 2000s. There were 3 companies involved with this one company. Because it was a hazardous material company, the business was owned by this guy's sister. The brother owned the equipment that the business used, trucks, machines, leased out stuff, whatever. And then the family owned
I see what you're saying.
gases and bottles that were used to supply welding sites and all that. Now, the reason why it was split up that way was if there was any kind of lawsuit, anything that ever happened, you still own 2 other companies that own the equipment, that own the bottles, that owned all this other stuff. So that if one part of it was taken out, you didn't lose everything in a lawsuit. You weren't sued for everything.
Right.
They were separated.
They'll sue like Loki LLC or whatever. And okay, you got it. And they go, give me your computer, Loki. And you go, well, technically that's owned by Culture LLC.
That's
so,
right.
Right.
Yeah,
and that's how you get
and that's kind of how I'm looking at it. It's the subsidiary system. But what I was thinking was,
I went, oh yeah.
what I was thinking this was, and I think I've said it on other shows, is this is like a holding company for their most important things. So it's possible that they're passing off their IPs directly to a holding company that's over these other entities that actually are just because game distributors. You have to remember where did Ubisoft come from? They came from. Well, that's true, but they came because they were repackagers. They were software distribution in Europe for other games, for other gaming entities, and they kind of arrived and showed up out of that. They weren't developing games; they were redistributing games, repackaging games, eventually, placing them in different locations, localization, and then they started developing games from there. So, I mean, they go back a long, long way if you think about it. And I can't even remember what their original name was, but regardless, this is kind of a way to manipulate things so you still stay in control, which they've been desperate for. These boys have nothing else. And it's their
you said that
golden
right there,
ticket.
Culture, and I think I'm sure you did it intentionally, but like you again, I'm like I feel like I'm playing catch up to you and Loki, but like that's what they've been saying, right? Like they've come out and gone, we want to stay in control of the we got to sell off something, we're in trouble, but we want to stay in control. And we all went, that's not necessarily how this works, man.
Yeah, it really isn't. And the fact that they're doing this, it's just the last ditch curve.
1,000%.
Before the crash. It's like what's that guy's name? Mark Rober. It's like Mark Rober's setting a Tesla up for a fall.
I don't know who that guy is.
He's the guy that used to do the glitter bombs, for the Porch Pirates.
Oh yeah, I remember those.
Yeah, he's got 34 million subscribers. He did a very underhanded stealth attack to Tesla, promoting his friend's LiDAR company.
So, I know who you're talking about
that
now.
thing from the
it just happened.
Yeah, well, Tesla suck anyway.
Wow, rough. Okay, well, you're never riding in mine.
Burn to death in a metal coffin. Go ahead.
I don't like him either.
You're never riding in mine. Both of you stink. Anyway.
Good.
All right. On that note, I just want to say we never leave a super chat behind. I will say I'm so glad that we had our final thoughts on that. And I will tell you, I'm very proud of us for getting through a block of stories in such a short period of time.
It's going to be crazier because the game will actually be out.
I know it's going to be bonker sauce, but bonker sauce or not, we got to say thank you to our friend, the Wild Man of Yavin, for $10 saying, I firmly believe it's okay to disagree with things. I disagree with Spencer earlier. That's okay. I disagree with Jonas. I disagree that Jonas doesn't look dapper. The point is, you're entitled to your thought as much as I am, or am I? Yeah, I agree with you. I didn't disagree. I think Jonas looked dapper. I think he needed a hat.
He looks better in real life because you can feel the force.
Well, he's tall. He's taller than you would think. Anyway.
he is a Chad. He's Alpha Chad Jonas for a reason.
He is a Chad. He's an Alpha Chad. Speaking of Alpha Chads, Loki's here too. Let's say hi to Hemorrhoid Hertz. Hemorrhoid Hertz for his $2 Australian, which he says is like 70 cents.
My heart goes out to you, Hemorrhoid Hertz.
And he says, I heard Yasuke love of roosters now. Is that true? I have no idea. I guess we're going to find out. Look, I know I've seen some game clips. I know I've heard some dialogue. I have a hard time believing the dialogue's real, but you're going to get to watch me experience the dialogue in real time this weekend. Oh my
Are you
God.
going to do the they them relationship culture? The they them.
If it's there,
enjoy, my friend.
I'm just going to say, look, and I'm sorry if what's the name of the female sumo wrestler?
Naoe? Oh, sumo wrestler. No idea.
Yeah, that's going to be weird. Anyway, yeah. Clive Griffiths is here for $5, or excuse me, euros. Man, come on, read properly there. That's proper money. I have every Assassin's game. I won't buy this, and I'm not sure I'll want to own it on PS Plus. It's going to be free in 5 weeks, dude.
PS Plus. Oh yeah, what you said that earlier, and I think we glossed over it because we were all like talking, but it'll be free sooner than later.
Yeah, 5 weeks, dude. I'm telling you right now, it's going to be worse than Disney Plus after a bad run of Snow White. It's going to be garbage.
I'm surprised they're not doing like here's a free Disney Plus sub with your ticket purchase.
They might be I don't know. They might be giving away Disney Plus for a year with Assassin's Creed. You don't know. You don't know. Anyway, thanks, Clive.
Yeah,
the business partnership that's going to make the world.
17% off right now over at GMG. You can get it for $58.09. Standard
Assassin's
edition.
Creed. Okay,
Yes.
well I'm playing standard edition, and I ain't not buying any of the promotion junk. You were not getting an extra dollar.
What do you call it? The upgraded like battle pass progression.
No.
And I'm not joking. There's a battle pass in this single player battle
Yes.
Single player battle pass.
Deluxe edition is going for $74.69.
All right, no, it's not, because I ain't buying it. You can go for whatever it wants. I'm gonna download the game tomorrow, probably play it on Friday here on this channel, and then go find a place to cry in a shower somewhere for a while.
Then like take the computer out to the desert and like leave it there and just
And load it
never
up.
letting you back in the house.
Load it up with a bunch of 9mm. I don't know about that. I will say this: the Wild Man of Yavin says another $10 super chat. Wild Man is wild today. Says sorry. Based 10 to say F Veilguard. Okay, sorry. Based on chat that I brought up. My bad. F that game. Oh no, I'm with you, dude.
Oh yeah,
And we can
everybody
get
is.
pizza now.
That's
we get
that's what I was sort of referencing earlier when I was talking about like when I first jumped on and I was going, oh boy, here comes their post-release press tour, because for Veilguard they did that, and in that first interview, credit to Eurogamer, like credit where credit is due, the guy who interviewed them straight up was like, so what are the sales like? And they had to go, we like them. And it's like, oh heck yeah, Eurogamer got them by the cojones. We know.
Yeah, they know, we know, and that's the sad thing here is Spencer, I love your optimism. I think this is going to have a Veilguard moment.
I want it to.
No,
I wouldn't call what I'm saying optimism. I'm saying that it's negative. I want it to fail, but it's one of those like, unfortunately, I think it's going to do great.
No, and I love that opinion, and I love your reasoning, and I agree with it. I really do. It's just this thing has been.
If I'm wrong, I would be so happy. Like if we come back next, like 2 weeks from now or whatever, and you're like, guess what? I was right. I wouldn't even be mad. I'd be like, you can have an entire stream, buddy. I lose this one.
No. I think word of mouth is going to hurt this one, but we'll find out. We'll find out. What I know we'll find out is from Kamchi saying for $2, this may encourage stupidity as UB claims actual history.
This may encourage stupidity as the Ubisoft. Yep, you got it right. Yeah, I think he's talking about the Yasuke stuff. And
yeah, I'm with you. This is bad idea genes. This was bad idea genes when they started, and it's bad idea genes as they release it.
One of my favorite things that shout out to Cider over at Bounding, he informed me. So there's that female sumo wrestler like character and plot line.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
No,
Yeah.
I know you were. And
Yeah.
I'm just bringing that into the frame of reference.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
so yes, there were like female bot, or what do you call it, sumo, but it wasn't like a sport. It was used as like a perverted spectacle. It was basically like the emperors would go, you two hot ladies, you go sumo naked. And it wasn't, it's not like a sports league. It was perversion. So
are you know, I'm kind of thinking a carnival attraction.
Either or. Step right up and watch the I can't say anything on this channel because it's going to get us. I don't want to make Jonas mad.
Yeah, thank you. Don't make Jonas mad. But I am going to make Jonas mad by addressing Gamchi again for another $2, saying, "Dono, they didn't complain. About Yasuke Simulator. I love that game. It looks great. I can't wait to play it.
So funny. Oh my goodness.
I want to. I mean, you know, what's those big bats that Yasuke's using?
I never know what those are, but I know they're like bangos or something.
Yeah, it's like a really like Baco or it starts with a B.
Yeah. You and I know what we're talking about.
Yeah. But I'm like, all right. Then I saw them like change that out for like a AK-47. I'm like, okay, well, that's an upgrade. So.
Historically accurate.
The game. Wild Man Yavin for another $2 says $2 towards Spencer's Fushuaba. No, to be TBC,
Fushuaba?
no disrespect.
What's my Fushuaba?
I don't know, but I think it's cool. You said a lot of words that I know. I did possibly.
That's the problem. Is I say a lot of things, and then when you go, "Oh, what about this?" I just need you to remind me that I did say that.
Yeah, I don't remember. But last but not least, and for all of you who have supported the stream today, you have been incredible. I'm sorry I haven't been able to keep track and keep up with everybody to give you your appropriate trophies, but hopefully next week we'll have a full panel and I'll be able to do that. Radio Drago for 5 more.
Drago!
Pound sterling. This is proper money. I appreciate it for all our European friends. Saying, let's all give a Roman salute, Spencer, Avatar style. That's right. Look at that. Right there.
Look at that.
To culture for manually torching himself. This weekend. I think you guys will be watching, and if you're generous on there for me subjecting myself to that, I can just say nothing but thank you.
Or maybe we'll make tiers or something, and if we hit in certain places, culture will wear things. I'll go buy you a rice hat. I'll give you one of mine.
Right. You don't have one of those, do you?
Brother.
Really?
Oh, yeah, I do. Oh yeah. Well, yeah, I went out and bought them myself because I thought they were stereotypically hilarious.
You're like me. It's like, okay, I'm gonna wear Viking braids in my beard.
Yep,
okay?
exactly.
and I will wear one long braid for horseback riding to honor my Native American family. So, yeah. Yeah, I'm like, if
Big
anybody
ruffled
ever
pants,
calls me
New York.
racist, they do not understand.
Yeah, right.
I'm like, I don't think you get it, kids. There's like 20 different things
there's so
going on.
many layers here. Go back to class, like after college. Then you'll know what we're talking about.
I'm everything. Anyway, it's like
I am all the ethnicities.
I'm all the races. I'm all the Jedi. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Anyway, all right, we gotta get going. But Wild Man Yavin's gonna send us out on a happy note for $2. $2. 2XX just because. Oh. What will you wear? LOL. I might wear my Hobo Gandalf costume with one of those hats that Spencer. I don't know.
Don't ask him to get back in the bikini.
Ni hao.
No bikini. No bikini culture. Not again.
Boku wa kami no shitaro. Okay, and for those of you who actually know Japanese, you
like a bikini
might be a little
body
upset.
Mr. Culture in Japan. Men come first.
Right. I gotta.
Couture.
Couture Casino.
Couture Casino.
Not not courtesan casino or
yeah.
or
Or whatever it's called.
what's the thing the ladies wear that it starts with a C?
Commitment.
No, they shape it's a shapely garment.
Kabuki.
Corset casino.
Yes.
Corset casino. No, I just
No.
need a girdle casino. Not so much. All right, we gotta go. I'm trying to get us out of here. How do I normally say goodbye to everybody? Does anybody remember?
Get your game on.
Oh, that's right. That's right. As always, get your game on. We gotta hit the out button. Get out. Get out.